just popped on our
And
screen
Lurch.
just now. Lurch is on the podcast now.
Fore players on Barstool Sports. It's the last major championship week of the year. Open Championship, the history, 1860, the whole deal. We're going to have a hell of a show. We got Frankie's coming in here in a minute. We've got The Return, we're calling it, where Lurch, Barstool Lurch, is going to come on. He's been tweeting about tennis. We just had Wimbledon. Alcaraz going up against Djokovic. And we haven't heard from Lurch in months and months and months. I'm excited to hear about Lurch. He's going to just like Lurch, like the Kool-Aid man. He's just going to pop in. Yeah, he's going to just bombastically be here, I think. So yeah, it's a big week. We're coming off just Rory heating up finally down the stretch, making putts, winning the Scottish Open, first time ever winning in Scotland, hitting 2 irons like you wouldn't believe. So yeah, it's a very, very exciting week. I've been taking flyovers. Shout out to your former coworkers, Dan, the Golf Digest. Those hole by holes that they do, the flyovers are fucking awesome. There's a Cypress Point one that Jim Nance does that's amazing. There's a lot of really good ones, and they have one that they posted like 11 days ago from Hoylake. And let me tell you, go find this on YouTube if you're looking to get excited about the Open this week. They've got like the most beautiful sunlight day that they went out and did, because we know from like doing this, you don't always get it like perfect when you have a 2-hour window to go do all your shooting or your drones or whatever. They had like the most perfect sunlight day of all time. This place looks insane. So I'm very excited about this week.
There's a good Pebble Beach one too. Sorry, Dan, to cut you off, with Jim Nance as well. And it's very funny listening to him like build up Pebble Beach, and he's like, oh, and the waves are crashing. We're in Monterey. It's the most beautiful slice of land in the world. And then he has to talk about the first hole, and he's like, it's a good hole. It's not great, because it's one of the stranger opening holes, like for the most beautiful golf course on planet Earth. So yeah, they do a good job with that stuff.
Yeah, so those are sneaky, all on Delta. So we were flying to on like the the in-seat entertainment. Yeah, Golf Digest has got a deal. They have a couple video series that are on there, and Brendan Jones was sitting a couple rows in front of me when we were flying to Boston the other day to film with Keegan, and I just saw him watch 3, and then the flight was over. So nice to know that he's doing Oppo research. He's really diving in.
If I had to guess what Brendan Jones was watching on a plane, it would be drone footage.
He just sat there.
Any and all drone footage.
One of them finished, and then he just opened up a new one, and then watched that one, and then that one finished, and then he just opened up a new one, and then the plane landed.
Guy loves drones.
It's they're great airplane watches. That's a great call. I think I flew Delta or something last week, and their Wi-Fi was so good that you could actually stream and watch, go on YouTube, and videos would actually play with good quality. And I did it a couple weeks ago before my Bandon trip. I think they have Sheep Ranch and Pacific Dunes on there, which again, they're 15 to 20 minute. I think Pacific Dunes has Tom Doak, the architect, who goes through it and narrates it. And then Sheep Ranch has Bill Core, who's the architect, who goes through and they're just as good as it gets if you're a golf nut at all. And the fact that they have one for Hoylake, because we spoke last week, we were talking about how we didn't really remember much from Hoylake. It was 2014 the last time they were here, and then 2006 with Tiger. But even back then, it wasn't the social media era and all that. So it's not like there were a ton of clips. Not like I was immersed in the golf course. Last time it was Orange Ricky and Rory with the pink sleeves going down the stretch. But I just didn't remember much of it. And going through hole by hole, it's absolutely sick. The architecture of I guess Hoylake is like 20 minutes or something outside of Liverpool. And this town of Hoylake, these homes look fucking incredible. There's some of them that are outrageous, and they got that just old like English architecture on what appear to be very nice homes. It reminds me a little bit of like Carnoustie, I think, where you get like, it's not a town, it's not a skyline like you get at St. Andrews, but it's like homes sort of that are kind of encasing the golf course, and that just looks like England. Like when the first flyover you see, that's like England. That's fucking England that they're in right there. So it's very, very cool to fly over. I'm excited about the golf course. There's a few holes that I really want to talk about. The third hole is like this impossible par 4 with just an OB wall down the entire right side that I think they're going to have to just try to carry it over the wall. But the wall, almost like the 12th hole at Augusta, the wall runs in that same angle. So like if you push it out right, you have to carry it way, way, way farther. If you hit it left, you're going to be in the shit. The 17th hole is like 130-yard par 3. These are obviously popping up all over the place now, where people are just kind of learning that we don't want all 230-yard par 3s where they have to hit 4-iron. It's like these little devilish ones. That one's brand new. They just kind of made it from scratch. And there's this whole like kind of the links, oceany, marshy area behind it. And then 18, we talked about last time, but if they hit a good drive, then they have to basically carry it the whole way over OB to try to get on in 2 on 18. So the course is very cool. I don't know if you've looked a ton at it, Dan, or if you know a ton about it, but the course looks fucking great.
My sort of northern star when it comes to Open Championship rotas, I'm not sure if he actually said this or if it's more of like he's thought to have said, but I believe Jack Nicklaus said that the further south you get, the worse the golf courses get, which basically says that the ones in Scotland are the best, the ones in northern England are good, and then the ones in southern England, which is basically just Royal St. George's, not as good. So this would fall kind of in the middle. I'm dealing with a serious fucking case of FOMO this week. This is the first major I've missed in like 5 years.
That's
so
right.
I feel really strange. I'm seeing all my friends, I call them friends. They're more like people that I want to absolutely crush in business. I'm seeing all of them posting stuff.
You're getting it. You're learning.
I'm seeing them in press conferences. I'm seeing questions that I would be asking. I'm seeing no one's cried in a press conference yet, which I feel like is a miss.
What's your question? What's your like secret weapon question? That
more proud of the fight, more disappointed with the loss, or proud of the fight?
That's it.
Just gets them every single time.
Also,
it's
Yankee
weird.
fan
It's
Frankie
weird.
Borelli, who's joined the show, by the way.
Hello.
Yeah,
You've never
what's
looked
going
more
on?
like I know you're a Yankee fan, but today you look like a Yankee fan.
Where's
I know
your
you got
chain?
the logo
You need like
on,
you need like a
backwards
gold
hat.
chain.
You're a Yankee fan right now.
Man, I know. I'm in all these meetings. I'm in pickleball meetings. I had my hat on backwards. I was putting the full court press on these guys. My God. No, it's and I can't believe Danny's not there. Actually, now that I think about it, that's a big one.
Yeah,
Liverpool, the whole deal.
We've got last week was a really crazy week between Cartagena and then we were in LA with Blake Griffin. We were in Boston, and then we've got our Corn Ferry event next week, and then I'm going on my honeymoon the week after. So it just wasn't gonna happen. Like I knew it wasn't gonna happen. I kept on telling myself that maybe it'll happen. I'm going to the Ryder Cup. It was kind of a decision whether I wanted to go to the Ryder Cup or the Open, and I felt like the Ryder Cup was a better event to go to. But yeah, it's tough. I'm not loving it. I got to be honest. It's not my favorite thing.
Like, do you have any part of you this week that's wondering if it's a test to see if you can cover it just as well, like not being there?
I never wanted to have that test because it's one of those things where you don't want to know the answer.
You don't want to set the precedent that like, oh, Dan doesn't need to be.
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
well,
So if you're listening, Barstool business people, the coverage is going to suck this week.
you just don't tweet anything all week. You're like trying not to get engagement. Be like, I got to be there.
I think the dirty little secret is that, especially with this one, you can cover it as well. I mean, I won't be able to ask questions in the press conferences, but there are other people who are totally capable of asking questions. It's more just like being there and being in the mix. I am a big believer that you got to show face a lot, especially with players, to build relationships. That's how you build relationships. You're never going to build relationships, in my opinion, on text message. You can. Maybe I'm just not a good enough texter. I don't know. But this one specifically, I think I will be able to provide the same level of coverage. It's more just like on a personal level. I'm such a nerd that I still get like a rush of adrenaline when I get into a media center. I still love mixing it up with the boys. But I'm gonna go to a couple playoff events. So hopefully that'll scratch the itch.
Oh yeah. I think we're gonna have merch at a couple playoff events.
I'll be in Atlanta. For sure. So
I believe Eastlake, Hotlanta. I think we've got Tour Championship co-branded merchandise, which will be really sweet. We might have one more too. I think we might have like I'm not 100% sure. We got a couple more coming, which will be very cool. But yeah, it's Major Championship week. It's the last one of the year. This place, Liverpool too, it's got very interesting history. I was looking. They've got like an all-star lineup of winners that have won here. We've got Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, Walter Hagen, Bobby Jones have all won here, which is an outrageous. Like I know we do that with the old course. They go there every 5 years. There's all kind of winner, but to get that group in there, like you hear Jack and Tom Watson in that group a lot, but to go all the way from Rory to Bobby Jones and Walter Hagen have won at the same place just speaks to the history of the whole spot. I think it was 1897 was the first time that it hosted, and then pretty much once every decade, Liverpool hosted the Open, and then it went almost 40 years, 39 years from 1967 to 2006. Didn't host it. They redid pretty much everything. They redid the greens, they redid the tees, they redid the bunkers. Tiger came out. It was burned out. It looks totally different in 2006 to what it looks like right now because they've gotten rain. Then it was just as dry as can be. I was listening to Brandel was on there earlier doing his thing, and we all talk about how like Tiger strategically picked this place apart without hitting driver, and Brandel's like, well, Actually, his driver was awful at that point, so he was just like playing the golf course, like hoping that he could play it without hitting driver, and he did and won.
Yeah, it's like if he could hit it 350 on a string, he probably would have hit driver.
He wasn't like, that doesn't work here. That doesn't work here. We're not going to do that. So, which I thought was a great point. But Tiger was 18 under in 2006. Rory was 17 under in 2014. So they can light this place up. The weather doesn't look that crazy. It actually looks pretty cool, pretty rainy. I think there's like 75% chance of rain throughout the entire weekend. Wind doesn't look that crazy, but it will be a little bit windy. Yesterday it was like 35-mile-an-hour gusts, they were saying. And we saw a lot of that at the old Renaissance in the Scottish Open where it was windy as hell. I was like unbelievable watching those guys play the 18th because we're so used to holes now being pretty much like mitigated to yardage just doesn't matter. I mean, these guys, we were watching them at Oak Hill play 520-yard par fours, hitting like mid-iron in, no problem. Yesterday in the 18th of the Renaissance, which I loved, it was 444 into the wind, and their guys hitting 3 woods in. Rory McIlroy hit a 2-iron in that he called would probably go down as one of the best shots of his career. He hit this like holdy cut 2-iron thing because he was in between 2-iron and 4-iron. He said he took 3-iron out this week, so he had to take a little bit off, and he just hit this absolute bullet right at it. But he was only 202 out. And like we see these guys hit fucking 8-iron, I know, is into the wind uphill. So watching Rory have to play a par 4 that's not over 450 hitting driver 2-iron was fucking awesome.
It was awesome. I got a text from Adrian, TaylorMade Adrian, and you know it's impressive when Adrian's impressed. He said that Rory finish was so insanely good, insane. I can't even begin to tell you how tough those last 2 holes were playing. So hell of a finish. Yeah, my takeaway was that pin was right in the middle of the green. Right, it was like right in the middle, and it just reminded me that like it doesn't matter if it's into like a 40-mile-an-hour wind. These guys are so fucking good that if you put the pin in the middle of the green, they're gonna pepper it. They just are. They're just going to hit a shot right at it. So one of the absolute best finishes of the year. Robert McIntyre deserves a ton of credit, man. He bogeyed the par 5 16 in contention. He was, I think, 6 under for the round. He bogeys that hole. Then he kind of hits a foul ball on 17, the par 3 way left, gets up and down, nervy 6-footer. Then he did what he had to do, man. He's standing on the 18th tee. Sneaky Bob McIntyre's never had a PGA Tour card. That was a co-sponsored event. So finishing second was absolutely massive for him. He's wanted to play both tours for a really long time. It's his national open. No Scott has won it since Colin Montgomery. He hits it way left, gets a stroke of luck. I think the announcer said he just flashed a real Scottish grin where he saw where that ball ended up. So I don't know if that means like he barely smiled or whatever that means, but then he hit this like, the reverse angle. If you guys haven't watched the reverse angle, they have an angle from behind the 18th green, a cell tower, and you can see he hit this like low riser cut, backs off the putt. You thought he was just nervous as can be, and he was. And then he pours it in. He goes crazy. Then Rory leapfrogs him. I asked him, he's so nice. I asked him if he wanted to come on the podcast. He goes, "Hi, Dan. Very sorry. Not going to do anything this week, but if I am wanted in the future, no problem at all." You're want you in the future, Bob. You're wanted, Bobby.
Yeah,
so
your future
bummer
wanted
that it wasn't on TV. Bummer that it wasn't on TV, but really one of the best finishes of the year.
Yeah, Bobby McIntyre is a classic. Turn on the TV on a hungover Sunday morning.
Yes.
Yep.
And the European Tour is on, and it's like him and Ross Fisher battling it out. And that's been like I
Victor
feel like
Perez.
Oh yeah, he's just a guy. He's a European Tour guy. He's doing it, and we've had a resurgence in these national opens, man. I know we've had quite a few conversations about it, but with Nick Taylor with the Canadian Open. There was another one in there, I think. Was it like I don't know if it was like the Mexican Open. There was another one that we got all excited about. And then here we are, the Scottish Open. You got a Scott up there going crazy. Rory, who's obviously Northern Irish, UK guy, wins it. So those crowds being all hyped up about their national opens. National opens just bring it. Oh, it was John Rahm. When we interviewed him, he talked about how much it means for him to go and play the Spanish Open, even though the fact that he's like a 2-1 favorite to win and there's nobody inside the top 1,000 that play in that thing. He's like, I still feel a ton of nerves. I want to win my national open. I'm Spanish. It means a lot to me to be playing in Spain. So national opens, they've got kind of the juice right now. Scottish Open delivered. It was elevated and had more money, and Bobby Mack finishing second, got $985K, I believe he got for finishing second.
Biggest check of his career.
So that's awesome. We're seeing a lot of that from folks. So yeah, and it got me hyped up. We talked about how it's like dipping your feet a little bit into the links golf. Now we're right into it with the British this week, and we got guys. it's a little bit of here we go again with Rory, right? It's like it wasn't
Very
that
much
long
so.
ago. A fucking couple months ago, we were down on Rory. This happens every time, and then he starts to surge again. He finished second or finished third, I guess, last year at the Open. We all thought he was going to win the 150th. Cam Smith shot that 64. He just finished second at the U.S. Open, not being able to make anything. He wins. Now he's coming in where he last won the British Open when it was here in 2014. He's playing incredibly well. He's saying all the right things again. So here we go again with Rory McIlroy going into this. And it's almost upsetting. Like, it's a little upsetting. You'd rather him like not tease you, not be in this type of spot, not go into this being like, obviously Rory is going to win. It's like, how would he not win? He's the betting favorite. I believe he's plus 650 on the Barstool Sportsbook right now. You got Scotty Scheffler's right behind him at plus 750. That guy hasn't finished outside the top 5 like ever. I feel like Scotty's got a crazy thing that he's chasing right now too, which they showed the most consecutive finishes inside of the top 15. Tiger Woods has that over the last 40 years. Tiger Woods has that record with 19 consecutive. So Scotty could tie that if he finishes inside the top 15. And Tiger Woods also has the second record, I believe, which is 18, which is a totally different stretch.
Different stretch. Okay.
Totally.
I wanted to make sure it wasn't like he missed one cut on the front and missed one cut on the back.
No. It's like this is like 5 years later. He did it. So yeah. Scotty is like chasing. He's playing that consistent that he hasn't finished outside the top 5 since April. I think it was like the RBC
7 in
Heritage.
a row, or 8 in a row.
It's insane. He finished like tied for 11th at the RBC Heritage. So he's like, wasn't like he played terrible. And so he's playing lights out. Cam Smith is one of the betting favorites. I think he's the top 5 or 6 betting favorite. He's plus 1,600, defending champ, obviously coming off that 64 that he finished with last year. So Brooks Koepka, I feel like we always sleep on. So there's just a lot of guys to get into.
Rory's tournament. The Rory heads are fired up. The Rory heads are fired up, and I'm one of them, and it's just way better when that guy is around. And I know he's been through a lot, and I know, Dan, you've been talking a lot about how the merger might be the best thing for him, how he's just free, and he can play, and he wants to win. He wants to show people, like, listen, I got involved in all this stuff that I didn't really even want to be involved in. I was the figurehead. Now that's kind of all coming to a close, and now I'm just going to play Rory McIlroy golf, and it's so much fun to watch. That 2-iron on 18, I was just rock hard watching that thing head towards the green. So, yeah, there's a lot of guys in the mix, a lot of good golfers right now, but right now all eyes are on Rory McIlroy. And if he wins the Open Championship, I'm going to cry. That's going to be unbelievable.
And if he does it and I'm not there, I'm going to kill myself.
Dan.
If he ends the drought. But yeah.
What a juxtaposition that would be. We're all excited about Rory, and then Dan just kills himself. And you're like, wow,
it's going to be like a fever pitch. He's going to be sitting home watching the coverage, and he'll be like, if you're not here today, you should kill yourself.
No, I've been saying it for a while. I really think it's the best thing that could have happened to him because it takes all this weight off his shoulders, and also he has an edge. He's like, fuck you guys. Everyone's giving me shit. He knows he claims to not be online, but I've spoken to him enough times where he sees everything. And he knows that there's this discourse where people are saying, oh, Rory got, they went around Rory when it was time for a deal. So he's got an edge. He's playing unbelievable. That 2-iron, when you watch as much golf as we do, you start to learn different guys' mannerisms and what means a good shot. When he gives you the twirl and then the crouch, that's when you know that that thing is dancing. It's like when Tiger gives you like the aggressive one and starts walking after it, you just know. And it's just like, how close is it going to be?
Like if I give you a crouch, that thing is off the planet.
Yeah,
I'm just like
is it
hold on, baby. Hold on.
Very different messages.
Rory Crouch and the Trent Crouch are two very different things. But with Rory, you're like, if he's that invested in this golf ball, it's going to be fucking world class.
The best footage was from a fan in the stands on the 18th, in the 18th gallery. Did you see that one? The zoomed in version, and they zoom out as the ball's coming to him. You can really see how low that thing started and that abbreviated follow through that he came through with just to hit that stinger through the fucking wind. It was an incredible, incredible video.
A big shout out to our presenting sponsor for the entire year, our very good friends at Chevrolet. Talked about it last week's show, but go learn more at Chevy.com/electric. And when you go to that link, you're going to see the Silverado. You're going to see it's all shiny, and in the reflection you can see because it's in like this valley, it's trees and long grass, and how iconic this thing looks in there and how badass it is because it's just been the Chevy Silverado forever, except now the fact that it's all electric. We're in the future. I know this ad's coming earlier in the show, but a little teaser that there's a lot of discussion on this show about how far technology's come.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. It's mind bending, really, if you think about it. Just the amount of time that we've spent on this earth as humans, and then just once we started figuring stuff out, how fast everything has gone and how fast things have evolved from the introduction to the Silverado to where we are now. Incredible. So hats off and claps to everybody at Chevrolet for being a part of what I can't wrap my head around. It's just an incredible advancement of technology.
Chevy's been in the electric vehicle game for over 10 years. They got the knowledge and skills to sell or service a Chevy EV. Over 5,550 EV trained technicians. It's true, you have less routine maintenance on electric vehicles. If you need maintenance on your Chevy EV, they got technicians that are EV certified. So go check them out. Go check out the all-electric Silverado and a bunch of their other lines, models that they've had forever that are now all electric at Chevy.com/electric.
I don't know if you guys have talked about, but like the camera angle on the winning putt was just, I mean, who made that call?
Zero.
We haven't talked about it.
There's a man in a production studio being like, shot 6, hold. And they just held on it. And you're just like, miss. I would be screaming if I was in there being like, miss, this is a miss.
Over the weekend, I had 2 grievances with that. I know we harp on the television coverage a lot, but even just like the social media clips, and I know those come from the broadcast. So on the Rory putt, the side angle to that is crazy town. Like it's just, that's
especially
not
since a lot of us are watching on our phones because it's not like anywhere on TV or anything. Like the ball was invisible. I mean, if you think about how small a golf ball is on the phone from that angle, it's literally invisible.
Yeah, they weren't even close too. That's the thing. It's not like they were right behind him. They were like a good 15 yards back behind him.
I said he missed. I was with like my family. I'm like, he missed. I missed it.
And then no, go ahead.
It was like hockey. When you try to watch hockey on your phone and the puck's in the corner, you just have no chance. Like you can't see it at all. It's too small. And like the whole point in putts can be so dramatic because it's you gotta hole it or not. And it's that moment. It's either going to occur or it isn't. You don't get that in sports very often where like the thing is either happening now or it's not. And the fact that they showed an angle that in no way clarified whether it was gonna like closer to going in than it was before we struck it or not. You just had no clue. That was I mean, we've been in meetings for this Corn Ferry Tour event next week and how seriously people take this and they do this as their profession. For them to fuck that up, that was unbelievable.
Dude, and then the Steph Curry one in Tahoe, he's got an eagle putt on 18 to win, and they show the side angle, much like on the other side, but much like the Rory putt, when the clips that went out were all of that side angle, when there's an angle of the putt coming at you, dude, that putt is on the way. It's still 6 inches away from going to the cup. Steph Curry turns around and throws his hat. That thing was harder to find than everything. Like that's the best. It's one of the best sports videos of the year. And every single clip I saw was of the punched in on the side, and you don't even see the ball going in and him celebrating before it goes in. I wanted to fucking scream.
Alex and Brendan on our team know how much I hate that angle when we do our foreplay videos and they fucking show. There's multiple ways to film a putt, and obviously like it seems like a really good idea to have that zoomed in follow the ball type shot, which is what they did for the Steph Curry one. It might be the worst shot you could possibly have in golf because you don't see any of the break, you don't see any of the speed, you don't see where it's going, if it's even close to going in. The only thing you see is a ball rolling, and then hopefully at some point it disappears into the ground from the side angle, but you don't see anything. So there's one putt. Oh, it hasn't even come out yet, but in the Barstool, I think it's coming out this week. Barstool Golf with Francis on Wednesday. There's a shot in there where I made him stop before he putt. I said, Brendan, please move over here because I think you're gonna miss how insane he has to aim this thing, like where he's aiming this. You're not gonna miss it. And then Francis made the putt, and we all looked at each other and we were like, if we didn't have this angle, we would have missed the whole thing. He had to putt sideways, and it trickled down a hill and over a hill and down a hill, and it goes in. We're like, oh my God, you got it all.
Remember the Adam Scott one?
The Adam Scott one.
The chip in, the Riggs chip in.
Yep.
And they ended up putting it in the drone from behind, got all of it. But the original shot is when you're just watching the ball, again, there's no context. And the only thing you see is like, oh, there's the hole in. Did it go in or not? And that's, it's not the way to shoot it.
It minimizes the entire theater of everything to just a ball in a hole. You might as well be on a practice screen. Like it doesn't, there's no context to it whatsoever. You don't see the person. You don't see their reaction. You don't see, because as a human, you can sense from their body language if they like it, if it's getting closer, they get hyped up and they just zoom super in. Max Homa tweets about it. Whenever he misses a cut, he always tweets about it. And he's like, this is the worst thing that anyone's ever come up with in sports. They just on a putt, zoom into the golf ball near the hole and it loses everything. I can't believe that they
for a replay. It's great. You show it in slow motion, show the ball moving. You can see the dimples. You can see the 4K HD. But as the shot, I mean, come on, man. Like, I don't know. The production's just been off a little bit. Like the fact that we had Wimbledon in the same part of the country as the Scottish Open, and one was just way easier to watch than the other didn't make any sense to me. Like Wimbledon was on all day. It was two guys playing tennis the entire day, and like the Scottish Open was like on my phone at like 7:00 in the morning. It was just like I couldn't understand. I'm like looking on my maps, being like, these guys are like right next to each other, right? Like why is one just way easier and throughout the entire day on like mainstream television, and Rory McIlroy is winning on my phone at like 10:00 in the morning? Why is that happening?
Yeah.
And these guys are playing until 4:00 in the afternoon. I couldn't understand it.
I think there's two different issues. One of them is the CBS, it not being on TV is a contract issue. Apparently the camera angle. And also, if you guys realize, when Bob McIntyre made the putt, they cut the crowd noise. There was no crowd noise. That was apparently a world feed issue. Apparently when there's tournaments that are shot outside the United States, CBS picks up the world feed. So apparently it was the same thing on Sky. Not an excuse, but it's not necessarily. The camera angle itself was not necessarily CBS's fault. Why they can't show it on TV is a contractual issue that will never make sense.
Enough with the contract issues. No more. What's with the contract issues?
We've had for so long.
What's with the contract issues in golf? I mean, we're dealing with all these leagues and Saudis and all these fucking people. Jimmy Dunn. The real meetings and text messages should be happening about the contract issues that we've been talking about for like 15 years in golf. We just kind of gloss over it. Every podcast talks about it. You got no laying up, foreplay, all these guys being like, there's so many contract issues. And look who the fuck just popped on our screen
Lurch,
just now.
no laying up.
Lurch is on the fucking podcast now. What the hell? Look at that guy.
How we doing, Frank?
Fantastic. Look at your hair, man. It's still full. That thing's you're never losing that hair.
No, that mop top's going to be up there forever. You jealous?
Yeah. I mean, it's nice head of
You're
hair.
starting to get some grays.
No, I'm starting to get some grays, but
finances.
I actually went on Reddit the other day and went on like Ask Men's Hair Reddit or something like that, and I looked up
Sounds like a deep hole.
Well, people were just putting up their selfies saying like, what should my hair be? And I was looking through a bunch of guys asking other dudes what their hair should be, and a lot of guys had Lurch hair, and all the response is like, there's nothing you can do. It's just God's will. And everyone, like, no one could accept the fact that you had to be born with it. Everyone's like, isn't there some sort of cream? They're like, no, it's over, dude. You got nothing.
Isn't it just your mom's father? Just like,
yes,
that kind of
I think so. Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's like where it comes from.
Like,
you either got it or
just
fucked.
like right away. You're just like, am I going to be all right or am I bald here early?
I don't understand how that works.
My grandpa died, Grandpa Trapper.
Pilot,
everything we talked about, comedian, Bert and I right up there,
Letting rocks go to land the plane. Unbelievable.
Genius move. Honestly, just a genius move. How deep is it right there? Let's drop some rocks. Oh, it's perfect. Let's fly
Anyways.
Lurch, we were just...
Hey, boys.
It's nice to see you. We were talking about, we mentioned Wimbledon. Wimbledon, I feel like, was getting a lot of love. This fucking guy. So I was watching some Novak Djokovic quotes yesterday, and he was like, yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I've never gone up against anybody like this guy. Like, he's like those other guys, Nadal, and them were pretty good, but like he's got the complete game. And I was like, well, I mean, we're talking like the other guys are the best players to ever pick up a tennis racket. Like, what are we talking about here?
Was this though? Did you listen to his full kind of like remarks, or did you just see the quote at the top of the headlines?
It wasn't that I saw him actually speaking for like a minute or whatever the social clip was about it. And he was just, I mean, Alcaraz, this 20-year-old who's just won Wimbledon for the first time, and 5-setter. It was iconic. But I was also like, I mean, how could this guy say he's never played against anyone like that? I don't get that.
Yeah, it was actually. So one thing that made me sad, kind of. So you're thinking Alcaraz. I was just, doing dumb tennis talk and calling him the spicy Spaniard, and I was just assuming that he was like in awe of Rafa. And then I found like a quote, a video when he was like 11, and they asked him who his favorite tennis player was, and he said Federer.
Love it.
And that was a little bit of a letdown.
Wow.
You know, it was just like,
Wow.
it was a little bit of a letdown. Anyways, Joker went in to like talk about like Rafa's movement, how like Joker usually finds somebody out and then he just destroys them. And he was like combining all those things and saying like this guy is like just a breed of like his own player kind of thing. I've never played a player kind of like him in a sense. But yeah, Alcaraz is a freak, man. He should have won. He should have beat Joker in the semis of the French, but then he got injured. I think he lost the first set, same thing, won the second set 7-5, got injured, lost 6-1, 6-1. Alcaraz is, he's a stunning tennis player. Athletically, the forehand, he is a joy
he also
to
has
watch.
those touch shots, those little
the drop
drop
shots.
shots.
That was crazy. And he was going to him
insane.
late, which is panic. That's like hitting like, you know, like you got pressure on a match and you got to stuff one in there. It becomes a disaster. And he was just delicate.
And I mean, I've been playing a lot of pickleball, and I don't want to
Spicy
compare my
Spaniard.
pickleball talk to like Wimbledon finals of Alcaraz versus
similar.
Djokovic.
Yeah.
But like,
1-1.
but when you're in a match and you're just firing, and then you take that split second to be like, I'm going to drop this one in there. More often than not, you get that little poopy pants feeling where like, I'm not going to put anything on this. I'm just going to hit it right into the net. And there's no worse feeling than knowing that you were in a good rally. You're cruising the ball back and forth, and then you ruin the point because you tried to get too cute. Can you imagine multiplying that by 1 billion in Wimbledon against one of the best of all time, maybe the best of all time, and pulling it off not once, not twice, but like he did it like 5 times.
He went crazy. To a 4-4 in the breaker in the second set. If he loses that second set tiebreaker, you know, it's the thing that jumps out to me the most, Lurch, and I'm curious your take on this, is just the speed. He's so fucking fast.
Yeah.
He gets everything
He's got like
back.
Rafa type defense.
It's like, and he has those squash shots where he'll hit like the hard, like forehand slice and it goes deep. And they had a couple where like Novak's overheads were kind of off the whole day. I don't know if that's like a weakness of his. And it felt like Alcaraz was able to like redirect them so quickly. It's hard to believe he's 20. He's so solidly built. I don't think of a 20-year-old as being that solid.
He's able to hit like a Mario Tennis forehand, like where he builds up the power and then just hits like everyone's doing the thing where they hit it back and forth, and he hits one 30 miles an hour harder than the other guy. And they're just like, even they were just standing there looking at him like, well, I mean, where the fuck did that come from? It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's why I don't know if you guys remember this name, but Del Potro.
Oh, yeah. JMDP.
And then he got injured, but his forehand was like so noticeably heavier and faster than anybody else's that it was so exciting because anytime the ball went to his forehand side, you were like, is he just going to just bury one? And yeah, he sets up beautifully. I think, Frankie, the thing that like, you know, you can take to your pickleball game, and Trent, I saw that you also let the public know that you too won Wimbledon at the age of 20.
I did.
Yeah. Congratulations.
So both you guys can kind of take this to your racket skills of the deception. Like there was a beautiful one where Joker got back to kind of the middle of the court and he sets up big, like he's about to pound the forehand, and then he cuts it. That's even harder because like you're getting up to hit a drive and you're like back here, and then you hit the most like delicate 2-foot putt downhill slider that somehow finds a bottom.
And these balls are moving 80 to 120 miles an hour consistently. So that like those split second decisions, I can't even wrap my head around. I was thinking about like that 121 mile an hour serve. Think about that as a baseball pitch. You can't even see it. You
and
can't
grass,
even
skids too. It skids off the grass.
The thing I couldn't stop thinking about was Djokovic. He was serving for 23 straight minutes during that 5th game.
Shoulder smoke.
What's going on with his shoulder? Right?
I mean, dude, he's a savage. But I do think he's lost a step athletically.
That can't be human. You ask a pitcher to throw 100 mile an hour fastball for 23 straight minutes, you have to take them off in a fucking medical cart. There's no surviving that.
It would be nice to know his pitch count. You know what I mean? Like his serve pitch count. Like what's his tone?
Oh my god!
Because at some point you're tired.
Dude,
I
didn't realize saying. I'm like his arm is tired. You know what I mean? He's not. He's not. He has like lactic acid. He's getting tired.
It's also the end of the tournament. This is the championship that we're talking about. He's been playing
for like 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, they showed that one stat that they had played for like 16 hours each leading into that final game. I
also didn't realize Djokovic has won 4 Wimbledons in a row.
Yeah, no, he's
Like-
incredible. I mean, like he's like kind of like Federer and Nadal, but like it's kind of clear that like even though he was getting a little nasty because the crowd was going against him, and like the crowd want like the next great thing, and Alcaraz is that
No,
thing.
I disagree.
Well, anyways,
Oh, well, no,
I got his pitch count. 184 first serves he hit.
all right, yeah. So then he hits
no,
what?
that's actually one thing I was going to ask you, Lurch. I found
115
myself
of 184.
I
118
found
of
my,
184.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
So then he's got 115 second serves on top of that too. So you're
Mm.
looking at 310 total serves or whatever.
I found myself rooting for
unbelievable.
Djokovic because
That's a
I'm
tired
now to the
shoulder.
age where I want the old guy to prevail. Like when I was
hang on.
young, I would have been rooting for Alcaraz, but now that I'm an old man, I was rooting for Djokovic. How does the tennis world feel about Alcaraz?
I think they love him. He's like a kid that's just come up and like kind of like, just excited and understands a little bit like the tennis history. There's some snobbery
Speaks
going on,
English.
as you can
Good
see.
looking guy.
Yeah. Is he good looking?
I feel like he's
call
gonna have
your
the
bluff
Cristiano
on that.
Ronaldo come up. I feel like when he's 27,
Oh,
he's
got
gonna be
he's
like
got the
really good
bones
looking.
there. The foundation's there
He's
for
got the
sure.
bones there. I agree with that.
Oh yeah.
He reminds me of like a young Sergio when he was like running, doing the scissor kicks, where he's just kind of got this young, youthful energy about him, except he's also sick. I started following him on Instagram like last year. What did he win the US Open last year, Lurch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
After he won that, and he just posts all these photos from all the tournaments, and he looks like such an athlete when he every time with the tennis players with their forearms and him in these like athletic clothes, right? Because everyone else wearing equipment or you wear golf clothes. He's like in these like gym clothes with tennis players looks, and he just looks like a fucking athlete. So
I just can't get over the athleticism. I can't get over it. If I lean over on my bed and charge my phone at a weird angle, my elbow is toast. And these guys are hitting tennis balls for 19 straight hours as hard as they possibly can for 2 weeks. I can't fathom how the body keeps up with that. Just saying that you're good at something doesn't mean that you're different than us. Like that doesn't mean that you're built that much differently than other human beings. Like how are you able to sustain that much force when like I can't even come within one
Well, you're not
millionth of it.
training either. You're not training.
I know, but
No.
like how does training like allow your elbow to stay intact when you're swinging 380 times on serves when like baseball pitchers, their arms like fall off after 105. Like I can't even wrap my head around it.
Tennis is a little bit like the training for it is just how much court time you get. Like much like swimming in a sense, where like swimmers, if you had like any friends that you knew swam, they're just in the pool for 7 hours a day. Tennis is a little bit like that of like how many balls you can hit. You're on the court forever. And it does, I want to say, beat like the joyous excitement of it being a game out of you. Because it's just a lot of like, all right, get back to the middle, shuffle, backhand, cross court. We're going to rip 20 of these. Then we're doing backhands down the line. Because like every ball comes with a little bit different amount of pace, topspin, backspin. And so you're just hitting an insane amount of tennis
Dude, it reminded
balls.
me a little bit of like what Michelle Wee was saying last week when she was like, I'm so excited to never do a putting drill ever again. Like that,
exactly.
You realize that like in order to be that good, you just build in this muscle memory where you like basically are blackout standing over a 6-footer being like, well, yeah, I'm just going to do the robotic move and it goes into the hole and that's tennis. And that fucking, that's a grind. I mean, we've seen a couple tennis movies now that have come out. The documentary about who's our guy, Fisher? Or Marty Fish, who's great, and then obviously the movie.
Somebody yelled in his backswing.
Yeah,
Did you see that?
Like a bird, he belted one in the trees.
That's crazy. Someone went wah in his backswing, and he just he lost the AC. He lost the championship. I mean, he lost. Like, that's why he was stepping up to 18 with a chance to win, and he just fucking
kind of amazing that hasn't happened in like a professional golf tournament yet. The guys, the crowd is so close.
We talk about that. We've talked about that a lot. Where it's amazing. It's a testament to golf crowds that it doesn't happen like 10 times a tournament. Where people are drunk, people are out there with their buddies, people are having a good time. But then at that moment that everybody knows, where you have to be as quiet as can be, everybody does it.
Just for history, like every Tiger Woods winning putt, no one's ever just screamed like "fuck" like as he's putting.
In the 08 U.S. Open at Torrey Pines, like how as the Tiger was pulling his putter back, did someone not scream like
30,000 people around the green and they're all dead silent?
Someone with a wager on it, like, oh, I hope he doesn't win. I'm gonna go there and fucking ruin this thing. No one's ever done it. Not saying that they should. It's amazing. It's probably one of the best parts of our culture that, or like our civilization.
We deserve.
We actually are real people.
We as a civilization deserve credit for that.
Right.
It's like a collective
civilization.
We have heart.
Effort.
We have heart.
Incredible effort. Right. And it happens like in tennis. I feel like Wimbledon, you get like drunk fans in there that are kind of screaming a little bit, and people are so close to the crowd. I feel like in tennis, for whatever reason, it's more common too for the guys to like get into it with the fans a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there was a few things. I think Kyrgios was talking about like the remove the drunk girl a couple years ago, and then you had Joker in this match. He blew a kiss to one of the fans, and like the fans are on top of you and like almost, only that little, like you can talk to them. They're 10, 15 feet away, so you don't have to yell or anything like that. Yeah, Joker is starting to lose his mind a little bit late, which I always appreciate.
I want to be in one of those tennis entourages that they always cut to.
Oh, the box, the coach's
I want to
box.
be like, no one would be more out of place than me, like a bunch of tall, good-looking, like European stallions, and then me just like. I want to be in one of those boxes.
Comes out a lot of boxes. I feel
lot of vamos.
When they're pissed off and not getting the touch right, and they're looking at their box like, "Help me the f out here." It's a tense situation. And then sometimes they like pan to them and like, are they applauding or are they not right now? You know what I mean? Like, they're almost is like two different brains.
So they're allowed to speak to them now, right? That's a new rule.
I actually don't know. I think so. I think that's the case. They speak to each other one way or another. So I think they made it like it's okay.
There's always in the box too. There's always a hot, fiery girlfriend or like wife. I feel like in golf for whatever reason, I feel like it's for whatever like the wags are generally a little more like homey and like family and like, oh, we're really excited. We're gonna meet him on the 18th green. I feel like the wife, the wag in tennis is always like.
Well, they're like sponsored by like Nike or
for whatever
Adidas. They're wearing like headbands.
Speaking of a little of that like soccer girl vibe coming, like that hot like European soccer girl.
Yeah, like cut his throat. Like, come on, step on it. You're like, all right.
Speaking of the wag reactions, did you guys see Rory McIlroy's wife at the end of the tournament? She goes, "Well done, lovey. That's what he got for winning the tournament." I was like, when you win your first tournament. The wife is running onto the green. She's crying hysterically. When you win your 37th time as a professional, she goes, "Well done, lovey. That was it. On to the next one. Another $1.8 million. Let's move to the next tournament."
That's all.
That's what he does.
Kid turned his back on him. Rory's kid was just poppy.
Immersing yourself in a big tennis match is actually one of the best sporting experiences. Like it's hard to get into it. I feel like just because we're
4 times a year, right? It's just like it's 4 majors that people are like, whoa, this is great, but then you can't see the Indian Wells. You don't even know they're going on. You want to watch. You think the Scottish Opens are to watch? Try and watch in a middle of the run tennis tournament that's going on right now. No shot.
Even at the U.S. Open, we went a few years ago with Caddy Dillon, and even at the U.S. Open, it's like they play on these side courts where like in between shots and stuff, you don't even have to scream. You could just talk to the player. Like you're that. It was like we're in somebody's backyard. It's fucking bizarre.
I'm embarrassed to admit I still don't have a full handle on tennis scoring. When I'm watching it, I'm still just kind of like, what do the games and what do the sets mean? First of all, I just need to learn how to figure like what it is, or I need an app on my phone that's like, here's the dummies version of tennis scoring, because I don't know really what's going on.
How much time did you watch the finals for, T?
I watched a good amount of it. I watched a few hours of it.
And just no idea.
It was on my second screen. It was on my second screen, so I had no sound.
I feel like a big shot there. Yeah.
That's part of it. I was
no
on the
context to like what was a big.
Well, that's the thing. I want to be able to watch it. It was on a second screen, and so I didn't have sound, so I didn't hear like, here's a big point. So I would just look down there, and I'd be like, I'd try to judge off of context clues of like,
Trent's like,
is this a big shot?
Crowd reaction. Waiting for the crowd goes crazy, and Trent's like, all right.
I usually can tell by the reaction of the tennis player himself when he's like fucking looking at his box, but outside of that I have no idea what's going on.
This episode is brought to you by FX's Justified City Primeval. Based on the best-selling Elmore Leonard novels, Timothy Oliphant is back as Marshall Raylan Givens. His hair is grayer, his hat is dirtier. While balancing life as a U.S. Marshal and part-time father, a chance encounter sends him to Detroit, where he crosses paths with the Oklahoma wild man, a violent sociopath, and his powerful defense attorney who finds herself caught between cop and criminal. Everybody's always looking for a new show, right, fellas?
Love new shows. Absolutely love them. FX always delivers too.
They
bunch of
do a
shows
good
off
job.
FX.
They do a sneaky good job, I feel like. I'm trying to, who did I see? Like, maybe Old Dominion I saw play a couple years or so ago where I was like, I just forgot how many absolute bangers and fantastic songs that they have. I feel that way about FX too. When you go through their lineup of great shows, FX is Justified, City, Primeval. It's up there. If you haven't checked it out, make sure that you do. Premieres July 18th. That is today, Tuesday, if you're listening on FX. Stream on Hulu. That is FX is Justified, City, Primeval. Premieres today, July 18th.
For tennis scoring, what just needs to happen post like that match, I feel like just bubbling it right to the top. You just got to go with electronic. Like no reason to have these, but like line judges, scorekeepers. It felt like there was a section where they got 20 scores wrong or 20 calls. That sport should just be all automatic. I don't know if you guys feel that way or not, but it's like it makes such a big difference in a game when you give up the first point 15 love that I would just go automatic.
I didn't know that was an issue. What they're just doing, like, because it's
so basically, like it gets into this very subjective manner where, like Venus Williams, for example, saddest thing in the world. She played in Wimbledon this year, first match. She, anyways, was like doing well, gets hurt. She's down, I want to say 30, 40, maybe add out. But if she loses this point, potentially her career's over. Like I don't know if she's going to keep playing. So, anyways, ball, she serves. Say I'm serving to you, Riggs. I serve to you. Okay. You hit it back. Serena, bingo, nice action. Serena, like the ball's called out, but Serena's kind of in like a precarious position and hits it, and it goes into the net. But the ball was called out, so like she didn't have to really react to it, right? Anyways, girl on the other side challenges the call. Ball is called good now, and because the head judge thought that she wasn't in proper position to return the serve, match is just over, just deemed over.
Oh, not I didn't see that. That's nothing. A zero.
So you get you get chances where like it's not always a let where you just replay the point, but you get chances also sometimes where like the head line judge can make a subjective call, be like, no, you actually couldn't have returned that shot or whatever, and then the point's over. And it just like it's just a weird one. You get these challenges. It just doesn't make sense. No. Just make a horn if the ball goes out and just call it.
Yeah. I got to say,
like they have with the let,
of all
with
the
sports. Thing, like the let will make a noise,
yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Tennis,
same.
Of all the sports, like every sport has pretty much dropped the ball with like replay and it drags the game. The replay challenges in tennis are electric. Like when the whole crowd starts like doing the clap thing, and then like the way that the like whatever it is, the VAR of tennis like zooms in, that like the theater of it is phenomenal. They did a great job.
Because you really can't tell until it starts off on that coming towards it angle, and you're like, oh, that might be online. Then they go over top, and you're like, it's a fucking inch away. Then they even do the zoom in to let you know you weren't even close.
Right. Right,
yeah.
They all do
no,
like it's a millimeter out, but it looks like it was 6 feet out when they show it after.
Right.
Like as jokers complain about, they zoom in more to show even more green space between his mark and the line. They like just look at the screen; it's over.
I like that Joker's kind of a villain. I feel like he's always been kind of a villain. I feel like he always is kind of like bitchy and like against the crowd's never for him. I feel like.
I mean, didn't they like contain him for like 10 days because he didn't do the vax? Like
he didn't play the U.S. Open because he wouldn't get the vaccine. He had a tournament in the middle of COVID where they all got COVID.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he's an interesting one. Know. He does like a good public appearance and he's like kind of jovial and funny, but then when he gets in the court, I feel like everybody roots against him. Nothing like a Medvedev or a Russian guy. Actually, Rublev plays nicely with the crowd, but if you're Medvedev, dude, but he's a good Russian in the sense that he likes the hatred. You know what I mean? They don't even put their flags up in the top left. Like they just get a black box for their flag.
Yeah.
If you're a Russian,
they still not giving them the flag because until the Ukraine war is over. There's no flag for the Russians.
I think so.
That's insane.
It is. But Medvedev like bakes in it. Like he's like boomy and I'll kill you. Especially on hard court, he's kind of.
To be honest, that just doesn't make
who's
any
the favorite?
sense.
Who's the U.S. Open favorite? It's those three guys.
Yeah, I would. It'd be hard to not take Alcaraz, but Medvedev will probably be. Yeah, Medvedev, Joker, and Alcaraz. I would say would be the 1, 2, 3 punch.
You could have gotten Alcaraz at like plus 450 after that first set, which is just hard.
Yes.
6-1.
Because I was driving through Boston, I was on the Barstool Sports book, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, man, it'd be fun if he comes all the way back, but he's got no chance, you're thinking, because Joker just ran through him in that first set, 6-1. It was just like no chance. And it was plus 450. And I'm thinking, why not? And I just didn't, I just didn't.
I took him pre-match. I took Alcaraz. So that was a roller coaster.
Now, what was he pre-match? Because he was
plus 150.
Yeah.
I saw him as high as plus 320. I played in Riggs. I saw you played at Grand Links member guest this past weekend. I played at Old Sandwich member guest, which was a heck of an invite. However, I was horrendous. So we haven't chatted in a while. Small life update. Was in Sun Valley last weekend for a wedding. Played 9 holes. Felt unbelievable. Made 8 pars and then one kind of bad 3-wiggle bogey, if you will, on the last to shoot one over.
Okay.
Then next day, go water skiing. I thought I was going to die. Basically, at elevation, I went water skiing, started to have a pounding headache. Your ox pulse levels or whatever. Your blood oxygen usually.
That was a big thing during COVID. I used to wear the little finger thing when I had COVID. And they made me put a little finger thing on me. It was like 97%. Yeah. If it dips under 95, rush to the hospital. I was like, holy shit.
That was like big Amazon. I think figured that out because everybody was ordering those things on Amazon.
Sitting watching fucking porn with like a little thing on my finger. Like as the scene got hotter, like went to like 98, 99, my oxygen level was high.
Like now I'm just jerking off. Relax.
So anyways, at elevation, mine dipped to 83%.
No!
Crazy.
Oh my God.
I felt horrible. 3-4 day headache, was like drinking water like crazy. Anyways, next day, played golf, shot 100 out there. I've got like back, forearm issues. Weird. Played in this member guest. Thought I was going to play decent. Was a bummer because Old Sandwich is one of the cooler clubs in the world. I didn't break 90, I don't think, either day. Just the worst value.
Oh, my God, Lurch. That's surprising because you've been hitting, for the last couple of years, you've been hitting the ball so good. I feel
it was a bummer. Has anybody played Old Sandwich, Riggs? Have you got out there, Danny?
No, because it's high on my list because everybody raves about Old Sandwich and Boston Golf Club are down there. Cork Crenshaw and Gil Hance. Everybody goes crazy about those two. I've never played either one.
Is that Connecticut?
Yeah.
It's Mass,
like
right?
Southern
Mass.
Mass.
It's like getting out
South
to the
Shore
Cape
Mass.
a little bit.
Yeah, I need to do a Mass trip. I've played Brookline, but I think that's basically it. I haven't played any of those other Massachusetts courses.
Okay.
Boston area golf is phenomenal. It's like they do about as good a job as anybody. But I heard Old Sandwich. I saw that's a great logo too.
It is. It's a phenomenal logo. Granted, obviously went well. I was up there a couple of weeks ago. That place is a 30 out of 30.
So folks know, like Lurch and I pretty much got into like golf in the way that we're into golf now at Granite Links. Granite Links is like a semi-private 27-hole facility, probably 10 miles south of Boston. And when I graduated college, it was like right after the housing collapse. So everywhere was looking for members. So they had an unbelievable deal for like junior under 30 members. So a bunch of us joined up there. Lurch was part of our crew, was up there all the time. So for those first like 4 or 5 years out of school, when you went from like golf was kind of a fun thing we did a little bit in high school, but wasn't really like a main sport for us, to like becoming obsessed with golf, going from a 12 or 15 handicap down to like single digits was all done at Granite Links. And then obviously we moved to New York, gave up that membership. But I went back this year. My boy Timmy invited me to play in the member guest. We won our flight. We were both. It was amazing. Like we were the third. We were the first seed in the third flight, I believe. We're both like 4 or 5 handicaps, but there's a lot of good players. Boston has a lot of good players. And then it was unfortunate because the weather was horrific yesterday afternoon, so we couldn't do the actual shootout because there was 9 different flights. There's supposed to be pure alternate shot on that goofy 9th hole on Granite that's right in front of the clubhouse right there. It would have been pure alternate shot in front of everyone, in front of like hundreds of people that go out there, and it just poured, so we didn't get to do that. But we won our flight. We played great. It's a lot of golf. It's 7 9-hole matches.
7 I've only played those with 5.
Yeah, 7 9-hole matches, which is just a lot. But like our flight was a bunch of total beauties, so we had a fantastic time. We played well. I played very steady actually, and then my boy Tim went on a birdie barrage occasionally. So he like 1 9-hole match, he had 4 birdies in a 9-hole match. So we just were like occasionally steamrolling teams. I would say I think we probably logged the least amount of time at the driving range. I don't know that we really hit any balls. I think we logged the least amount of time. We didn't play a practice round. and we had to have at least tied or been close to the top in terms of alcohol consumed. And so every match we showed up to as like the leaders in the flight, music blaring, drinks cranking, and we just kind of sent a message and we kind of steamrolled the entire flight. So it was a great time. It was a great time. We got lucky with the weather because it looked pretty dicey the whole time, and then it really started pouring like the last match yesterday in the afternoon. But yeah, going into a member guest, I don't know, as like a golfer, there's anything cooler than a member guest. Like teaming up with your guy and you're out there and you're having a couple drinks, but the golf is very competitive. Is just as fun as it gets. And yeah, we had a fantastic time. That place, the pros did such a good job. It's still Nick and Bobby. Remember them, Lurch? So
yeah, for sure. I was up there a couple weeks ago.
Right.
I saw those guys again. It was unbelievable.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they had done a great job. They had I posted it everywhere, but it was like an ice luge with like the Quarry Hills Invitational logo that they were pouring espresso martinis through. I laughed at like as soon as I posted on Twitter, like all the responses were like, "This is the richest white person thing I've ever seen in my whole life," which was very deserved. I was like, "Yeah, we definitely deserve that." But that was a phenomenal touch. They did the pinned golf rangefinders that had the little deer logo on them, which were sweet, and then they were doing these shoes that were part of like the T gift as well, and they did like a imprint of the course logo on the back of the shoe, but like really small and clean if you wanted it as well. So they just did a phenomenal job. Those guys balancing all of that, and people bitching about handicaps, and then that combined with like all the public play that goes on up there and having that many people, like the head pros just went all out and managed everything incredibly well. So shout out to Nick and Bobby and their whole crew. But yeah, those guys are still doing it, Lurch. It was like, it's funny to go back, like that was 10 years ago or whatever. It's like, pretty crazy to just go back and be in that world. Like the same guys, Bob Hanley's still up there doing it. Like the same crew.
He's up there still. Oh, yeah. I didn't get to see him. That's amazing.
So it's funny to like just teleport yourself back into like 10 years ago. It feels like everybody's games are pretty much the same. Like everybody, it's funny to go back there. But yeah, it was a great time. We won our flight, played pretty damn well. So it felt good.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't hit a good ball and now feels like forever. I think like my back, I think maybe my oxygen levels will never return because like I legitimately suck. Like my buddy who I met, we had like this great ski trip in Telluride. It was amazing. Now you're talking about the luge. I'm talking about all these white events between Telluride and this place, Old Sandwich. But I mean, horrible, dude. There was like a couple times I was in like good position. Like we played from forward tees, par 5. I pelt one down the middle. Got like, the driving iron, a beautiful like UDI on the way in, and a cold shank out of bounds. I mean, just like cold. It was fun. But
speaking of body ailments, I was just reading on Twitter Jeff Passan. Did you see this? The MLB analyst on ESPN. He says, sorry, I haven't been posting lately. During a cleanup after a big storm in KC, a large tree limb decided to fall and crush me. The good news, I still have my arms, legs, and Twitter fingers. The bad news, I have a broken back.
The sentence is it crushed me?
It crushed me.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he's got a really vertebrae fracture from a falling limb on a tree. That's tough.
I mean, that's incredibly unlucky.
Oh, yeah, that's
incredibly unlucky. Have a tree limb just crushes you.
Not to be a jerk, but do you think he should have been faster?
It depends on how it fell. I mean, the one that fell at Augusta, there's no getting out of that thing. You just got to get lucky.
Yeah, that's true.
Those big trees fall hard, man.
Take a bite out of summer with HelloFresh. From chef-crafted seasonal recipes to their new fresh and fit summer menu, HelloFresh brings flavor right to your door. Again, we get into health on this show. No reason in particular that we get into health, but this could probably be
just a weird one.
Just a healthier podcast. I think we can do things a little differently here. And HelloFresh is going to help you. They got pre-portioned ingredients, help cut down on food waste, while step-by-step instructions make cooking a breeze, not a chore. I feel like pre-portioned is something that we could use. I think that'd be very important for us.
Dude,
for a family of 2 instead of 4 would be an unbelievable step forward on the health train. So limiting it also, like, you think you're doing healthy because you're like cooking one chicken breast. It's like,
nope.
No, you need like assortment. No. HelloFresh brings a little green in there, a little meat, a little protein, whatever. And Frank, you're trying to be healthier. Those nipples starting to shrink.
I did. Yeah, no. So I went on a pretty strong health kick for like a month and a half leading up to the wedding. I didn't eat sugar. I didn't have salt.
Good. Yeah.
I really tightened up the face, and now that the wedding is over, I went off the deep end. You got to hit rock bottom to come back. So this week I really hit rock bottom. I was drinking beer again. I was doing all that stuff. Anything that was making me bloated, I just did because I wanted to.
Were you doing like I'm back in my sodas routine, or something before? Were you doing like vodka sodas to get geared up?
I was doing tequila and like just straight bourbon if I wanted to drink, but I wasn't drinking anything else. But now that I'm back, like I actually crave that. I want that process back. I want that like system of like knowing that I'm going to eat healthy tonight. I can have my snack during the day, but at dinner time, I'm eating something healthy because it makes you feel better. You go to bed better. You wake up better. You just feel your poops are better, as gross as that may sound.
That's a big indicator. I agree with that.
It's a huge indicator. So for a month, dude, I was taking great poops. Just fantastic. And then now this week it's like, it's slush. So now it's like, come on, let's get back. Let's eat healthier. HelloFresh is back in our lives. We got our regimented meals. We have our system. I cannot wait to get back on the train.
Poop is like the number one deterrent of healthy or not. Like when I was I've been dehydrated before, but like when I had this kind of issue out in Sun Valley, I pooped like fairway green.
Yeah.
And that basically means that you're just incredibly dehydrated.
No good.
But I think honestly, your stool is like the number one deterrent of healthy or not. And when you do it right, when you are healthy, you know, the old, who's the old baseball player from the Royals? Beautiful double paper chip.
Yeah.
What was George Brett?
George Brett, he's a big Arizona guy. Plays a lot
of
golf out here. Oh, yeah. Double phenomenal. From backyard bratwurst bar to tangy key lime pie, HelloFresh Market makes summer entertaining a cinch. It's peak time for summer produce, and HelloFresh makes sure you get all the best picks all summer long. Go to HelloFresh.com/450 and use code 450 for 50% off plus shipping. That's FORE50. HelloFresh.com/450. Use code 450. You get 50% off plus free shipping.
Speaking of poor golf, we talked a lot about me trying to make the mid-am. I'm still going to try to. I'm still going to play in the qualifier. I haven't practiced once. So that whole idea of me like practicing like a tour pro for this qualifier is just not going to happen at all.
What about your lesson? Did you feel anything after your lesson that you got?
Yeah,
I know it was quick.
I did. It was a great lesson. It was a great lesson. I've been talking to Mark. He's like giving me all these things to do, and I texted him yesterday. I was like, I haven't done a single thing that we talked about. Yeah. He's like, all right, we got to FaceTime. And then I'm going away on a honeymoon for 2 weeks, and then I get back, and the qualifier's 2 days later. So we're still going to do it. We're still going to film it. But the whole notion of me like getting really serious about my golf is going to have to wait until a period where I'm not working as much. But it's okay. You can't have everything in life.
I'm switching to a blade putter, and I'm trying it out tomorrow for the first time in like 4 or 5 years.
The reserve one?
The TP reserve. Yeah, I haven't tried it yet. But something's got to give. I got to change this up. You know, there's only so many different like grips. And I went to Trevor Immelman. It was a great episode. He taught me where to putt, but I'm not hitting it there, and I'm not finding the line. So I got to try something else. Like all these other guys are trying. I'm watching pros switch out putters all the time, right? All the time. And I'm sitting here with the same tailor-made GT Spider that looks like an Islander. It looked like it was dipped in Sparky the Dragon, the Islanders mascot. I got to switch it up. So I got the TaylorMade TP Reserve, and I'm going to putt with it tomorrow, and I think I'm going to putt lights out. I'm hitting way too many greens in regulation to not be like a scratch golfer right now.
Is it speed or is it line?
It's everything. It's everything, dude.
Might be brain.
I haven't seen a ball go in the hole in months.
It's crazy.
Everything's going to tap in. Everything.
I messaged Jesse about the same thing. I was like, dude, I got to look at something else. Honestly, what inspired me was Scheffler being like, if you want to be in my bag, you got to earn it. And now I'm looking at my clubs like, do you deserve to be there? And I'll tell you what, that whatever that block is that I hit the ball every once in a while on the green with is gone because the thing never goes in. Dude, that first round out in Sun Valley, I was puring it around the place and I think I hit 7 of 9 greens. I was making 3 and 4 footers to say par every time. I mean, just horrible. Never had a chance. I got to look at something different. So I'm getting that TP blade as well. And I can't wait to look at something
they say the blade's way harder to putt with than the Spider because the Spider just like has things in it that allow you to
You need a different look. You just need a fresh
I need something different. I need something different. And the pros make the blades look so damn easy.
Yeah.
So damn easy. It's like,
Blades,
they're just lining it up and putting to where they want it to go. It's just
I saw the TP5 reserve, the TP reserves when they posted those a couple weeks ago too. I sent the same text to Essie. I was like, I love my Spider X. I've been putting great with it, but you got to send me one of those. Like that thing looks so fucking awesome. I will say this last weekend, I hit a handful of like between 6 and 3 footers that went in because of the spider that I said to Timmy. I was like, that was a spider putt where you hit it off the toe a little pushy that holds its line a little bit more than it should and catches part of the hole. So I do I have a blade. I have an old TP5 that the TaylorMade guys gave me right away that I putt around with quite a bit, just messing around. And the blade, there's just no doubt the blade feels and looks more pure than any other putter that anyone's ever created. It just does. There's no doubt about it. But that Spider X, that's my trusty because I've got the GTX and a couple other ones. Obviously TaylorMade guys want us to use the newest stuff and we play with them a lot. But that Spider X that I've had pretty much since we started with TaylorMade, that's just my trusty. I just love that fucking putter. I think it's just so good. I love it.
I have that with the drivers a lot where I'll hit one off the toe and it will hold its line and stay right side of the fairway or right rough. And I'm like, when they talk about how equipment made golf way easier and back in the day, Tiger was the only one hitting it. I'm like, that's a shot that in 1970 would have gone 220 yards and 80 yards to the right. But because of the twin space technology, it goes 90% of the way and straight.
The technology is incredible. Did you see the differences when Rory hit the Permission, whatever. What's that called?
Persimmon.
Yeah.
255 in the air. Yeah. It was crazy.
That's unreal. That's unreal.
Yeah, it was insane. It went from 265 to what?
315 carry. I mean, it was spinning. It was spinning so 4,500. So all the hardos were like, "Oh, he'd be able to get the spin down. He'd be able to get the spin down. Give him a couple shots." But yeah, it's jarring to see for sure.
That's amazing. Lurch, you got any hot British Open takes? Have you been able to dig into Hoylake yet?
Lurchy loose picks.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet, but per Ben Simmons, I heard that stupid little joke in there, Frankie. But no, I haven't. Actually, the first one that I like is Colin Morikawa is going to find his name on the list.
I was liking him too.
Loose pick this week.
I was liking him too.
He's picked up putting in 4 straight starts, which is very rare for him. He's putting it nice. Yeah.
What does that mean? He's just getting better at putting?
He's been above average in putting in his last 4 starts, which is for him. If that happens, he usually has a chance.
And he's such a ball striker out here, and it
little
feels data
by Rappaport, but Lurchy's Loose is just a name that came to the top of the head. And
you can, Lurchy's Loose picks. I feel like isn't afraid to inquire with some other folks, get some consulting,
helpful data,
research
for sure.
Right, it's a collaborative brand. I feel like that you're trying to get. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking Morikawa. I saw his odds were not crazy. He was getting pretty good value. He's to finish top 5. He's plus 650.
It's a good bet. I like that. A lot.
And even if you want to go down, you don't have to give up that much. He's getting a good to finish top 10. He's plus 330. So it's he's a ball striker out there. We've seen that with Stenson and these guys at the Opens where it's he can just hit those irons so pure that the wind won't affect him as much. It's not like Augusta where you got to putt lights out. It's we've seen pretty average putters go out and play extremely well at the Open. So I kind of liked Morikawa too. I saw him on there.
Wait, Frankie, you bury the lead with the Jeff Passan tweet. What he wrote for the tweet is in all caps, breaking my back.
Yeah.
Just saw That's amazing.
That's really good.
Amazing. Last thing I got really on here is this Steph. I mean, I know we touched on Steph Curry, but him getting an ace and then making a 15-foot eagle putt on the last hole to win is fucking outrageous. That's
deal with the devils. Deal with the devil. Some people just have it all.
He's an incredible athlete. There's just no two ways about it. The guy can get the ball into round. He can get any ball into little round holes. That's just what he's really good at. He's probably so good at beer pong and anything else where you're just tossing round objects into bigger holes. It's just a fact, right? That's his thing. Probably wouldn't be that good at football because there's none of that. Baseball, probably not. But anything with a hole and a ball that's slightly smaller, he's getting it in it. And
he pounds the hole.
And man, he's just we're lucky to live in a time that Steph Curry exists. Like he's not a multi-sport athlete, but he's proven that he is. Like he doesn't play professionally, but when he gets out there and he puts some time into it, he said losing to the Lakers was like his biggest advantage of being able to go out there and win in Tahoe because he just had more time to practice it. I guess you have to like ask the question, if this guy dedicated his whole life to golf, would he just be on tour? Is he that good? I mean, he's fucking phenomenal at the game of golf.
It's funny.
It's
there's almost
a tough one to answer. Yeah.
No way to like rattle golf fardos more than to say that, because they just lose their fucking minds over how preposterous that is. But when he played in the Korn Ferry Tour event, I think he's played in a few different ones, but it was a couple years ago, right? And he finished, I think he shot like 72, 73 or something. And like, I think he missed the cut, but not by very many. So it's not
think he
like
shot 1 under in the first round. So I think he
now
shot
we're talking
under par.
like,
yeah.
We're talking about a guy that can do it.
Yeah.
It's in there.
Yeah.
He probably plays like 20% of the year.
I think if he quit basketball altogether and started playing golf, like training the way that he does now, he, more than any of the other athletes, would have a really, really good chance.
Yeah.
I mean, Frank, he's playing more than 20% of the. I guarantee his clubs are coming on every flight to every.
I'd love to ask him.
Dude, remember last year in the finals, he was like seen at like PGA Tour Superstore getting his clubs regripped like in between games in the finals. Yeah, so he's a golf nut. Because I played at Cal Club this year when the Barstool Classic was up there, and that's kind of like his spot. And they say he's in the grill there quite a bit. I think he plays with like the employees a lot. Like he shows up in the afternoon and takes out guys from the shop and whatnot, and they rave about him. And just like he's the biggest golf nut in the world, and they fucking love him up there. So I've heard nothing but good things. But yeah, he's a player, and that touch and just being able to get the ball go in the hole. I feel like for a lot of guys that are you can do everything we've talked about repetitiveness and build a pretty good swing, I feel like. But to be able to do that, just have that touch and feel, yeah, he's a problem.
And his reaction was the same thing he does when he makes a game winner. He does that the double thing where he kind of like flexes almost. You could tell he was just in pure adrenaline mode. I also loved his reaction. We got to normalize that kind of reaction for a hole in one. Just booking it straight to the green. Yeah. It
was a little bit of a tough scene for Kaloran, I think, and Pavelski, who were in the group with him, because they went to like go embrace him too, and he just ran away from them. Yeah, he just ran away from them. He was gone. So then you're kind of just stuck back there being like, well, I just ran after Steph Curry and he's faster than I am, so now I'm fucked.
First thing I thought about was Tony Finau rolling his ankle. I was like, he's going down. So literally was my first thought.
That's probably why they don't do it.
We've also got Monahan's first day back is today, and it's just British Open week, so he's basically like he's not gonna like have a presence this week.
He's
right?
at HQ.
So,
he's at HQ. You know, actually, I'd be interested to see if he's there. Be very interested to see if he's there. He's probably on doctor's order not to travel overseas. Would be my guess.
Rolled into his parking space and was like, "Oh, everybody's out of town. And I guess the British Open's going on."
How did that happen? Yeah.
What a shame. I was really hoping to check in with everyone, but I did. Technically, today is his first day back. They were talking on live from, I think, or Golf Central, whatever's on today, that he's next week, I believe, he's expected to be kind of at the event and be walking around and talking to players and doing the whole thing. I saw Billy Horschel, who big time friend of the program, become one of our favorites over the last year. He was very candid and said, I learned a long time ago that the PGA Tour is actually not a member run organization. It's a member input organization, is what he said, essentially being like, yeah, there's it's $1 billion entity that makes business decisions, and we really don't have that much say, which is something I think we've all pretty much learned recently. But yeah, Monahan technically is back in the
That's
saddle.
not necessarily a bad thing, right? Like they're going to make more money. It's just different, and they got to stop saying that it's player run because no one buys that anymore.
No, clearly not player run. So yeah, next week should be quite interesting to see. Wherever life takes you next and whoever you're looking to be, there's a car for that on cars.com. Whether you're moving from the suburbs to the city, you want a smaller, sportier car, or you're expanding your family, maybe you need a bigger, safer option, or you've taken up maybe snowboarding and you need more cargo space. Maybe you need to put a bunch of golf bags in there. Cars.com, their advanced search filters help you narrow down the car that you're looking for. They have the deal badges that identify the single best deals. They've even got quick and easy ways to sell or trade in your current car. Over 2 million cars for 2 million possibilities to meet your changing needs. Up to 50,000 cars are added daily to Cars.com. You got to have a car. You need help picking one, boys.
Need it. Absolutely need it. And right now, there's no better time to use something like this to get a car, because going to dealership is tough right now.
Oh, stinks.
the whole every single lot doesn't have your car, they don't have your trim, they don't have your color. So being able to sit back in your home to be able to go on the website and see this is huge. Trust me, you don't want to not utilize this amazing tool
and dream about it. You know, you can start to be like, I need to work a little harder, whatever. If I do this, do that. There's this car. You can search all things. You know what I mean? All makes and models.
Going through the trims,
preferably
the
Chevy.
interiors, changing up the wheels and seeing what it does to the price, all that stuff.
Right,
Man.
you get
it's a
excited
fun
about it.
time
You
of your
geek out
life.
about it.
It's a fun time.
It is. I mean, yeah, like you said, it could be motivational, Lurch. You could be like, you know what? I'm in this position. I'm on cars.com. I'm seeing these really cool options. Maybe I need to step it up a little bit. So find your next possibility on cars.com. Where to next? Go to cars.com. A few from the galleries real quick, I think that we should throw on here. And one of them reminded me, since we've got Lurch on here, this was Connor from Scotland, who said he was at Dumbarton Leaks recently, and he was chatting with the GM. Said he remembers you guys, loved what you guys said about the whiskey on the first tee. Remember that when they gave us those little shots on the first tee? And he said to go on, because we were talking pretty recently about hole-in-one ideas, basically, and how, like, at any course, if you get a hole-in-one, they should do something special for you. He said at Dumbarton, they give anyone who makes a hole-in-one a bottle of Loch Lomond whiskey and a course flag with the hole number on it. And it made me think that, like, I was actually thinking a lot about is there any other accomplishment in any other sport that is similar or even on the level of like a hole-in-one? I feel like it's
like, I guess the first thing that comes to my mind is a 300 in bowling, but that's kind of different because that's kind of like shooting 59. Yeah. That's not like a luck situation, you know?
No, it's not. Like, not anybody can just go bowl 300, right? You got like Alex Ovechkin got a hole-in-one the first time he ever played golf, and he was like, "Yeah, golf easy. I'd play one hole, like one shot." Yeah, that's right. I play one shot in hole, and it's like that was it. I don't think you can do that in any other sport. But anyways, very cool that they do that at Dumbarton, and I was going to use that as an opportunity to tell anyone that's listening that courses should all do something cooler and just charge us like $2 more per person to play golf so that they can afford that.
I don't think anything's close. 7-10 split or some stupid shit like that. It's fucking nothing.
We're big bowling guys now.
There's nothing to like golf, like you play on that course, that hole, that day. Like there's like you hit a serve, a tennis ace at Wimbledon, but like that's nothing,
right?
You know, like
right, and you can't really compare the two because it's like you need to be in Wimbledon at that point, which is like
person.
You probably don't care about an ace at that point. You've probably got many of them if you're at Wimbledon. You know, you're playing at Wimbledon. We got Jackson, who said his favorite truly is lemonade. He said, "What are your thoughts on roundabouts? I just went through the one in Pinehurst, which is a massive one, and I've never hated them more." So what do we think about roundabouts?
I always think about the European vacation where he's like, "Big Ben, kids," and they just keep going around Big Ben. And it's like, he says Big Ben, kids like 15 times. They just can't get out of the roundabout.
I feel like our roundabouts are way more like European, right? Than they are. We don't have that.
I didn't really grow up with them in California at all, really.
Yeah. I don't know.
In like heavily populated areas, you can't have them.
Yeah.
But like when in the middle of nowhere, like Pinehurst, or like somebody could be waiting like 4 minutes for a light. No sense in that. I think roundabouts are great.
We've got them on Long Island by the beach. Like it goes around this big like pencil. I really don't know what the pencil's for. It looks like a giant pencil, Jones Beach, but they have roundabouts on there, and I drive down it every day, and I go around the roundabout.
I like roundabouts. I think they're fun.
I think they're great. Yeah, Riggs, I will say, I remember when you did your first European trip and you were driving on the wrong side of the road doing roundabouts. You were having like literally
pull over.
A panic. Yeah.
Well, I went into the shopping center parking lot and I practiced driving on the other side of the road, because not just the other side of the road, but also like the thing, it's a double whammy when you go over there, because not only are you on the other side of the road, you're on the other side of the car. You're like sitting, so your whole world is reversed. And I was so excited for this trip, and I jumped in the car and I just was like, I'm a absolute hazard on the road. I'm going to kill someone. Like and the hardest part for me was like your spatial awareness.
Practicing in the parking lot. So
of the other side. Yeah, it's so insane. Also, Riggs is a driver. I mean, like lean forward 10 and 2. And like, I might be the most relaxed style of any driver, but Riggs is on the other side. So like me picturing someone just in a mall parking lot, just practicing the wrong side is unbelievable.
I was like, I'm going to kill someone here. For whatever reason, I couldn't grasp that, like, being on the left side of the car, I was so used to or being on the right side of the car. I'm so used to the way that we drive when you're on the left side of the car. You can base how close you are and where you're at on the road to like just looking at the left side because you're on the left side. So you're like, if there's anything left of here, we're fine because I'm on this left side. And I was basically, because I had to switch over to the right side of the car, I was like in the middle of the road driving because I just couldn't grasp that like this wasn't the edge. There's a whole part of the car that's left of me. That was a problem. So yeah, I was like a mile into the trip and was like, if we just keep going this reckless, like someone's going to get hurt. So I had to go into the parking lot and practice. It was an absolute nightmare. And they got a ton of roundabouts over there. Reagan says, so when people / announcers refer to down the stretch, which holes would you say constitute down the stretch? In my opinion, it's 15 through 18. When I heard someone say that they think it's the entire back nine, would love to know your guys' thoughts.
15 through 18, I think, is pretty spot on.
I think that's right. I think that's right as well. I would say 14 is a little too early. When someone steps up to like the 15th tee, I think this is the final stretch. They've turned the corner, and this is it. 15
feels like the right number. Because 16, 17, 18 is too...
9, that's insane.
Right. And 16, 17, 18 is too short. Like that's a little loop.
Well, then I was trying to compare it to like... Because down the stretch, the final stretch, it sounds like horse racing a little bit, like in terms of the term. And there's 6 furlongs. The final is the last. So I'm like 1/6. I was trying to get the math of it. Now I kind of tongue-tied myself. I don't think that's right. I would say just 15 through 18 sounds appropriate.
I think it's
in
15.
The last break in 90. I tried to do a bunch of math. It just came out. I'm like, you've hit 2. I said, you've made 2 pars out of the first 3 holes. You're 75%.
Oh, I saw
like,
that
I know.
clip. You were throwing wrong. Yeah, you were just doing the wrong percentages.
Just kept doing it. I kept doubling down.
The best part was Trent being like, yeah, you're right. That's a great point.
I mean, had he got another par, he would have been 75%.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
So I was
it's only 2/3, though. You're on the right trajectory, you
think? We had Brian from New Jersey said his favorite Truly flavor is strawberry lemonade. And he goes, am I crazy or was Frankie's picture at the U.S. Open lanyard his character from 2K and not an actual picture of himself?
Yeah, that's right. It was. It was my cartoon
debate that? I mean, it was like, obviously, I thought that was obvious. You know what I mean?
I guess I don't know. I think he was, maybe he thinks that you look like, right? You think you look more like a video game character than an actual person.
Also, I don't know if you've seen this show, but my girlfriend was watching the dumbest show I've ever seen in my life. It's on Netflix. It's called Is It Cake? Have you seen this? You heard about this?
Is it what it sounds like?
It's the most obvious thing in the world. Basically, you put like a cup on the counter, and then somebody tries to make a cup exactly like the cake, and then these judges come in, and then they debate whether one's cake or the cup. And I'm
the cakes are probably incredible, though.
They're incredible, but it's so like painfully obvious. Like they were doing, one was kettlebell weights. And like they had 2 real kettlebell weights, and then they had a cake kettlebell weight, and you just saw the bottom. It was just like deflated frosting. You're just like, this is the stupidest. How can you not tell that's Frankie's face? How can you not tell that's a real kettlebell? I mean, what? Like, are people morons? I don't know.
Dude, I went to something this week that if you would have asked me if I ever would have went there prior to getting like married and having to do stuff with my wife and her family, I probably would have said no chance. I went to a glass museum at Harvard, in the Harvard like Museum of Natural History. And I legitimately was so blown away by this glass that had been made into flowers and plants
nice
that I actually
blown away.
Nice pun. Mm-hmm. That I actually like felt the chills. I was in awe. Like I was walking around this room in silence, looking at these pieces of glass that had been made into flowers and apples and trees in the 1850s. There were these 2 people that just sat there, and I'm talking like there was one where it was a flower, and then they showed the roots that would have been underground and all these little strands. I'm like, how did they even transport it from wherever this was made to this little area? And then I spent so much time in there, and then all of a sudden I entered this other room. There's dinosaurs in there. I'm like, where am I right now? You ever walk around and look at real dinosaurs at museums, and like you realize like they actually were here. It's not just some fucking movie. It's not just like something you hear about like
Jurassic Park
75 million years ago. It's like, no, you're looking at the bones of what was an outrageous dinosaur. It's like, oh, this was in the armadillo family, and it's like it's like 10,000 pounds and it's fucking 35 feet tall and it's got the craziest arms ever. And you're like, well, imagine seeing that thing walking around.
The Museum of Natural History in New York is actually one of the coolest places you can go. They've got a few dinosaurs in there, and I know we've brought it up on this show, but they've got the blue whale,
the sperm whale.
Oh my God, that blue whale! Yeah. You cannot believe the size of this thing. It's bigger than like
whales are insane.
Insane,
nuts.
And I'm seeing more and more videos of like whales come out of the water just missing boats and stuff like that. Like,
no, they're angry.
And blue whales are the biggest things on the planet, but it is weird to think of a time, like imagine if we weren't like the apex predators, you know what I mean? Like something out there right now, and we didn't even have like the military type equipment, guns, whatever, protective gear, that like you could just leave your apartment and go play golf and like you could die, Riggs. Like you could just get eaten. You could, you know what I mean? Imagine living in a time like that.
Well, we're only the apex predators because of our brains that allowed us to have technology, right? But like we're not like the top of the food chain when it comes to like body versus body. Like a fucking lion's gonna rip my fucking face off. I've got nothing. We're actually like low on the totem pole there, right?
For sure. But I'm talking about a time like, imagine if we didn't have the power to do anything. You know what I mean? Like you're out there with dinosaurs. You don't at that time, they didn't have the military equipment to like stop them.
Well, right. You also like, you wouldn't even, at the time of the dinosaurs, you wouldn't even be safe in your own like apartment. Like like a T-Rex could walk by and just like stick his head into your window, breaking everything around it and like pluck you out of your place and eat you and just be like, I'm going to continue on with my day. I'm going to probably eat 100 more people today. I'm a very big and hungry person. Like that would be fucking terrifying, dude. Think about like I always think about that with creatures that live out in the wild that are not the apex predator. Like, are they aware that something could eat them at any moment? Like, how do they learn that?
Oh yeah,
do they just see it happen? But
there's that story.
Like, I know that they are, but how do they learn that? Do you know what I'm saying?
There's that story about that bald eagle that was captured on a drone. Like National Geographic followed this bald eagle flying through the fucking mountains of like wherever it was, Seattle or something, right? Going through most majestic video I've ever seen. I'm gonna try and find it and send it to you guys. And they said that it took them like months or years to be able to figure out how to fly this thing quietly so that bald eagle didn't think that there was something else in its atmosphere or environment that was able to follow it and fly at the same speed, and like, or else that it would take that trait and bring it to its babies and its eggs, and then they would then think that there's something else out there, and it would ruin the whole ecosystem of bald eagles. Their brains would forever be switched that like, oh shit, there is something else out here that can go higher, faster, louder, stronger than us. Isn't that fun?
That's epic.
Yeah.
So like there was a whole article about how the guy flew it completely silently.
I love that.
Yeah.
Me too. But that's kind of what I'm thinking about, like a baby fawn or something. If you're running around out there in like the wilderness and you don't know that like wolves exist, right? You're just like, yeah, we go like we eat grass and we eat other stuff's fine. And then all of a sudden, like, I guess instinctually you just kind of figure it out. But if you've never witnessed it, like you might think, yeah, I'm like bigger than these other little rodents I see and stuff. I'm just going to eat stuff and it's going to be great.
Yeah, then you see mama deer give it those eyes and they're just fucking, they all just sprint and you're just sprinting with them. And then for the rest of your life, whenever you hear that noise, you know to sprint because mama deer did that and you just go. Like, that's just probably what it is. Like, I know when I hear that, I'm gone.
Yeah.
That is a great point. I've never really thought about though, like the learning of that. Cause like early days, you know, you're plodding along. You don't know about a big brown bear. You know, and like that, and then you can't tell anybody quickly. There's no internet, there's no phone. Like, there's just another family or village that it's going to happen to, too. And then you're just talking about this big brown beast.
Right. And I was just thinking, like, when I don't know what creature it is. I'm going to say like a deer again, but if they're having like a little drink of water by a pond in Florida or South Carolina or something, and then a gator just jumps up and grabs them and like that, those 30 seconds between when they first get bit and when they finally die. That must be so shocking while they're in there. They're like, what? Now what happened here? Like I'm just getting a bite. I'm just getting a drink of water. I'm just nibbling on the grass. And then like this giant thing came out of the water and I'm in the water. Like, what is like, that must just be so shocking if they don't know that alligators exist. Like they just don't know.
Suck. Getting eaten by something would suck. Yeah. I mean, Just
like,
all time.
how did this happen? Like, what the fuck is going on here? That's
I spent all weekend thinking about it. I did, because in that museum they had like Siberian tigers. Like, imagine just walking down the block and just seeing that thing turning around. It's like, it's over, you know?
That's awful.
It's way over too. Which sucks.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, I did so much tourist shit in Boston this week. It would actually blow your mind. Like, we did the Tea Party Museum. We like threw.
No way. You were up here?
Oh yeah. What
were you doing up here?
Hannah has a bunch of family from Colorado, and like they had never been to Boston, and we're not going on our honeymoon until October. So we were like, we have the week. Let's all just go to Boston. We went. We spent a bunch of time in the Seaport area. We did we did all the Boston shit, duck tours. We did the Harvard, the whole thing. We were like quacking our asses off on the duck boat. It was crazy.
Dude, the duck boat takes too long, though. I mean, if we're being honest, it's way too bad. It's too long.
And our guy inflicted his love for Vikings a little bit too much. He was a Viking fan. He was like, not the football team. We're talking.
Do you have the
Icelandic
horns? Did he
Vikings.
have any like the horn?
Yeah, he was wearing
thing?
the horns, and every chance he got, he wanted to let us know that Vikings may have been in the Boston Harbor one time. It's just like, man, I know that we got to fill some time here, but you lost me on the Viking stuff an hour ago. And the fact that that's like the cool snippet that we're going to get out of Boston is that maybe one time they were Icelandic and Viking waters. That was cool.
I don't know what happened in Frankie's sound.
I'm not hearing anything from Frank. Frank, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, we stopped being able to hear you, Frank. Oh no, now you're just now you're just three dots. We are unable to subscribe to Frankie. Are you back? He looks so upset. He was clearly on a roll.
Some of those dumb Boston tours, though, like the other one is the Boston Tea Party one, where like, have you ever seen that? You know,
I've seen them go by.
Barking Crab. They throw a box of tea in the water that has like a rope just long enough to reach the water, and like I think people wait in line, throw one like box of tea into the water,
goes
and then
over by an inch, and then they just pull it back in.
People reel it up.
Dude, I think of the breakup with Vince Vaughn when he's like the Chicago tour bus driver, and I think like if that's the best version you're gonna get because it's fake and they're able to script it, and even that's just like, oh, they make you like scream and clap together and shit. So yeah, that stuff probably goes on far too long. Look how upset Frankie is right now. He can't. Can he hear us? Can you hear us, Frank?
Nothing. It's a thumbs down for you, Frank.
Yeah. Nope. He's upset. I wonder what happened. Did he just become unplugged? Bush, do you know?
It's his mic that comes loose and then it stops recording or kicks him.
Lurch, how long have you been in Boston now?
Since February.
Wow.
It's like you were talking about Granite Lakes and like being back. It's crazy to be back in the city. Well, I was at Corner Tavern the other night and just back at it, honestly.
I hit my finger on something and I was gone. I was gone.
Dude, you were on a roll too. I could tell you were getting right into it with the tours in the Boston. Yeah, and you were all fired up.
Well, no, it's just we went to that Tea Party museum and I thought it was going to be boring as hell. Like you walk in and there's people are acting and they make you think that you're in there. It's very immersive and technological tour. All of a sudden there's like battles happening on these screens and all these photos start talking. It's for sure not the most exciting thing of all time, but definitely interesting. But you really get to think about like, man, have we advanced as people, and why couldn't they have just thought about this stuff back then? You watch these battles, the American Revolution, it's just man versus man with these little guns and these bayonets, and it's like, we're going to charge you, and if you don't shoot back, you can just keep running that way. And then you think, like, you flash forward 300 years later, and we're on a Zoom call talking about golf, and fucking we've got, like, iPhones and VR headsets. Like, how did we get here in such little amount of time? Paul Revere's, like, one of like the most famous people of our nation, and it's just like he needed to just ride his horse to let people know that these like British were coming. Like that's how unadvanced they were in the 1780s.
Frankie, I was just dogging on it, but did you wait in line to throw tea off the side of the boat?
Yeah, so it was part of the we just
dude, you throw a box of tea with a rope that barely makes the water, and then like the next person's out. See it from the side, it's the stupidest thing ever.
Well, me and
I will
Lurch
say I saw from the side.
And you came in and were like,
it looks
was
way
awesome.
No, throwing the tea definitely was a low point in the museum, but it's part of the whole tour, right? Like I always thought that you went on there and you threw the tea and then you left, but luckily we got a lot more information out of it. But
you start screaming like taxation without representation on the
exactly.
way out, or what do you do?
Oh, dude, they make you get into it. Like I was screaming like "Fi!" like all the things that they used to do. You put your thumb on your nose and you wave it, and you go "Fi!" or "Huzzah!" So like as they were speaking, and they'd say something like, Sam Adams walked in and he gave a whole speech to us, and every time he said something that we were about to throw tea into the harbor, we had to do something. Like they were taxing us and they weren't allowing us to be who we wanted to be, and we had enough. And the ship owners wouldn't let us like steal the ship. So like the only thing we could do was sneak in at the end of the night and just take all of this tea and throw it into the fucking harbor. And as he's telling us this, the other lady is like screaming huzzah, and we're all screaming huzzah or nay or fi or yes. as he'd be like King George the Third, we'd hiss.
What do those words mean?
Those are just what they would say in the 1770s. Like you would like, instead of like clapping or booing, they would say hiss, fi, and huzzah. Weird times to grow up, man. But I'm a big tour guy. I fucking love that shit. I immerse myself.
You're
in
an elite, like the top kind of guy to go do touristy stuff with.
Oh, I love it.
Well, you get so into it. You need a person in your crew that's not like,
I'm not
me and
embarrassed
Lurch
for
are
that
like
shit.
mocking the whole thing. You need a guy in your crew that like when you go to Disney, that's like, no, this is magical. We're in this. We need, that's excited about it. You got to have that kind of guy.
I've just done the duck tour once is too many, and I've done that thing like 3 times.
I can't believe you've done it. I can't believe you've done it.
Yeah, because my grandparents lived up here, and then like that was once, and then there was like an 8th grade stop, and then I think I did it after college one time with like my cousin or something like that. They're like adamant that we do the duck tour, and it's just forever. And then like when you did, Frankie, did they take you in the water? Because they don't do that every time. Okay, that's like 45 minutes of just a waste. It's so slow.
It's pretty impressive that those things are amphibious, though. Like it's a fucking truck, and all of a sudden you're just you're like in the harbor. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, boys.
The Charles River is what you're in. Actually, it just got it got an A- rating for cleanliness. It used to be an F. It used to be I think it used to be an F. It was the dirtiest river. It was the dirtiest river like in America. I think the only dirtier river was like in Ohio. And they made a huge push to try and clean the Charles River, and now it's like an A- over like however many 10 years or whatever. Pretty impressive.
What other duck tour facts do you have?
That
feels like it came right off the duck tour.
We did that was like part of the big graduation thing was that night you jump off the bridge into the Charles River the night that you graduate from school. So I was just going to say, I'm hoping it wasn't the F time. I'm hoping it was more of the A- time. But I think my brother jumped in with me too. It's quite the scene. All right. In life, 2 is always better. A double play is always more exciting than a single play. An encore is always better than the band leaving early. Those are facts. And at Sport Clips Haircuts, you can now get twice the relaxation during the Ultimate MVP Relax and Repeat event. For a limited time, the Ultimate MVP haircut experience costs the same as the MVP. That means for the month of July, you get double the massaging hair time, sudsy satisfaction, and double the hot steam towel. The MVP experience is awesome. Getting a haircut, obviously, you want to go in there, talk about hair, and Lurch's very thick mane of hair that he's got there. You want to go into
Riggs, I'll say your hair's looking better and better. I mean, like it's
I appreciate that.
Yeah. The towel though is a nice touch. I love a steam towel. I'm also pathetic. I love getting a little rub down, you know what I mean? And sometimes it kind of goes in that. Do you guys talk while getting your haircut?
Yeah, I think you kind of have to. It's like a very intimate experience, right?
It's intimate?
Well, I like the guys, the guy or girl or whoever is like massaging you and literally like styling your hair. Like, I think that's a pretty, like they're touching your body, like your top of your head with like machines and they're like grabbing your, I think that's a pretty intimate experience. Not hooking up with the person, but
no, I know. Just
how often is a stranger like touching your head and stuff? You know what I'm saying?
I kind of get the chill. Like when somebody rubs my or cuts my hair, I kind of like, I kind of like shut down as a human.
Bottom left and bottom right corner when they hit that with the razor is like, it's a feeling that I probably can't talk about right now, but it's good.
Yeah.
Dude, my friend
Alex, put some talcum all over yourself.
Biting
my friend Alex Chi, a college buddy, he would always fall asleep whenever he would get a haircut, and they would like buzz those exact spots you're talking about, Frankie. He would just fall asleep. It was like
incredible,
so soothing for him. But anyway, Sport Clips, they're a game changer at participating locations. Offer ends July 31st, 2023. It's the ultimate relax and repeat event. Everything you love about the MVP, just more of it. So go check out Sport Clips. It's a game changer.
Lurch, you eat anything crazy recently? How's your health?
I mean, well, I'm telling you that, like Pulse Ox, dude.
Oh,
like,
that, yeah.
That was bad.
So
Other than that, I don't
Health
know.
is bad.
I'm getting a doctor checkup here soon. Went to the dentist. That screwed me up.
Oh,
If I have 30 teeth, 28 were supposed to be perfect. 2 were horrible. 1 had to be removed, which is like still rudimentary.
Kill
like
me.
to take out a tooth, dude, they basically just like beat it with a hammer until it comes loose, and then they get pliers in there and rip it out. Like you can feel your whole jaw going. And then the other one needed a root canal. So that was a mess.
dude, you ever see the video of a guy getting like a knee replacement? It's been going around on social media recently, where the surgeon's just fucking hammering this nail out of his knee. It's like pop, pop, and he's swinging at it like he's Barry Bonds uppercutting a high and inside fastball. And the body's like on the table, kind of getting fucking jerked.
Yeah,
and you wonder why you wake up and you're just like, what happened to me? Why am I in pain? Why am I in pain for a year? You know what I mean? It's because this guy's in there just teeing off high and inside sliders, just hangers. I gotta send you this fucking video. You're never gonna get surgery ever again.
Dude, pain medication is a wild thing because like I could feel my whole jaw like moving left or right, but didn't feel a damn thing. You know what I mean? Like you feel like there's like it's just like a block of wood in there that was making your wood move. It's no pain at all, but it's like I can't imagine now.
Dude,
send me that video. I'd love to. But besides that, everything's good.
We're talking about technological advances and stuff. Like until 100 years ago, or maybe like, the medical profession and doctor, they had to know nothing, right? Like, what did they know? They even know like molecules existed. They just were, or like cells. They just were like, they just went off trial and error for centuries, just being like, like what would they give
at one
you?
point,
What kind of
believed,
medicine?
like witches exist. So like, who knows? You know, you could be deemed a witch. Like, think about all the trials and tribulations through medical. It was just like, yeah, I mean, that person's a witch. Like, they need to be hung. It's like, wait, no. I'm just a little bit weird. This is like,
if you were like an empowering female, they would like burn you with a stake. Yeah, that's a witch.
Yeah.
Like we can't have that. That's like it's fucking nuts. Absolutely nuts. And that's what I'm saying. They were doctors at this time too. That if you had an ailment, they would be like, yeah, we're gonna do this. They didn't know anything back then.
No,
it was bad.
No. Feels like cutting it off was way more part of the practice. You know what I mean? Where today it's like, no, we rehab, we hit these hanging sliders and fix your knee or whatever. You know,
it all comes back to that theory that aliens came down and just gave us the technology to just advance way faster than, because for just all of our existence, we were just one way. We just like, we were barely surviving. And then all of a sudden something just clicked and now it's all this. Come on, dude. Something happened in the 70s.
No, Frank, dude.
Yeah, man.
No.
Something happened, man.
That's what you trace it back to the 70s.
We just send all these things, particles out to space, and it comes down so fast that we could have this video chat right now, and we just figured that out, and they couldn't. Like, why? Why couldn't they just figure that out? They didn't have the capabilities. What does that even mean? Like, what does being around for longer like have anything to do with just figuring that out? I don't understand. Because like for thousands and thousands of years, they didn't figure it out. So why like because of an extra 40 years, we just figured it out? I can't wrap my head around it. You know what I mean? It keeps me up at night. Like, why from the year 0 to 1940 did we not figure it out? And then we're like, oh yeah, we got it. And now let's just go.
It's not even the year 0. It's the year like minus 10,000. We just couldn't figure it out.
Couldn't figure it out. They didn't even try. They probably didn't even try. And then all of a sudden it's like, let's just try and let's just do it. Now we got like electric cars, an electric Silverado now. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's true. No.
You know,
it's a good time to be alive. I'll say that.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It is like, if you look like in history, military history and stuff, when people would find an advancement, like a technological advancement over others, they would just decimate armies because they just would have like like the horse archers from the Mongols in like the 1300s, when they just, all these other people running around hitting each other with swords, and they basically had essentially like machine guns, because they could just run around armies on horses and just shoot arrows at people. These European armies would be like, what the fuck is this? We can't get anywhere near these guys. We've talked about it too, like when they just went from wooden ships to like one team just had a steel ship in the early 1900s, and they just were like, oh, British Empire, they've got like 10 million awesome wooden ships. That's sweet. And they would just bury them with like a steel ship. That's just all it took.
Yeah.
I got Lurch.
I mean, if you gave somebody a sniper rifle, what'd you say?
I got you thinking.
Yeah.
I see your eyes are darting
No,
around. You've been thinking since I said
I'm definitely thinking about that. It is, I mean, well, then I just like, as pathetic as this is, it's like if you took the brain power in this chat, you know, whatever, which is not like high IQ, anyways, you spit that out, and you just had all these people that looked like differently, but like had our level, we would just never have advanced. We would have never invented the internet. No. Nothing would have ever happened better one year after another. No. So,
dude, Nate Bargatze talks. I think he has a joke. It's either him or Louis C.K. where he's like, if I went back in time with everything I knew, I would know. I wouldn't know how to explain.
I would help nothing.
Nothing.
Yes,
nothing.
He goes, I'd know everything. Yeah, there's these phones, but I have no idea how to make them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how to explain to you how to make them. You know, like maybe we could come up with like a plastic like rectangle, but like dude, nothing inside it is.
You're literally the guy today that's like, oh, it'd be sweet if you could like snap your fingers and the ham sandwich comes out.
Yeah.
Because like maybe that happens in the future. But you're just like, no. You can play whole like songs just through these little plastic things you put in your ears. It's like, dude, what? That sounds amazing. About? Just like, music for yourself. And you're like, yeah, and it threw what? Just morons. Just be like, dude, you're a dreamer.
Dude, I wouldn't even know how to make a straw. You know what I mean? Like,
no, nothing. I'd be like, tell us about the internet. What's it made of? I'd be like, I don't know. It's like, it's just there. It's like around.
Dude, it'd be a very funny segment to be like, what's the stupidest thing? Like, just like a straw, like a dumb piece of, dude, you can't make a pencil. I couldn't make anything.
A napkin. No chance.
Right. Like if you put me in the forest or somewhere, like even if I had some certain tools of like what they had available to them,
it's over.
I couldn't make anything.
Dude, think about, if you went back 500 years and they were like, all right, you've got an entire lifetime knowing everything you know now. Could you create electricity? Like,
chance.
Could you get to a point where like electricity is produced and like turns on a light?
What? What?
I don't think
you're saying that like
I don't think I'd come even.
What are you talking about? So Thomas Edison? Like who? Like who are you? Like he technically had all the information. He's you of his time, and he figured it out. But he was the only one ever. Like he knew what to do and did it. Like you're saying that you would be that impressive to like be able to figure it out? No way.
I'm wondering if like. Is there a way I could tap into the things that I learned at some point in school and then convey those to the smartest people there and be like, it's like
I could do it.
Currents and like, I trust me, like we could turn on a light. Like, I trust me. We got to be able to get there together. I don't think I could do it. I don't.
Somebody start cranking their arm, and then you get a couple wires. Right. You touch the wires.
Copper. We need copper, and like put copper, and we need you to like windmill it up a little bit, and like then we're gonna turn on a light. Like trust me.
Like where are you getting copper? You know what I mean? Like.
Dude, what we have unlimited amount of time, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we got like 80 years. Let's say we got like a lifetime. So
we only have one lifetime?
I'm saying we got one lifetime.
I just think explaining it very vaguely, it's like impossible. Listen, we need like copper from the ground. We got to get it into a little fucking thing. Somehow we got to crank something to get something through these wires.
Also, you might not make it one conversation before they just burned you at the stake. You're like, look.
Right. They call you a witch.
I'm from the future. I got this plan. And they're like, all right, get rid of this.
We don't have to burn candles anymore.
We don't need fire anymore. They're like, what?
They're like, oh, we'll show you fire, buddy.
Think about the genius that created a candle, though. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we were just burning like fires but then we had string,
It's incredible.
and that was burning too quickly. Now we needed a wax to slow it down, but the wax will heat up and drip slowly.
It's incredible.
I mean, savant, literally.
Well, we've talked about this since you've been on here, but record players is the most. You got one right behind you.
This one is unbelievable.
Okay, now try and wrap your head around the fact that plays music.
No, dude, I don't even.
A little
it's like
needle. A needle hits a piece of plastic, and because of the ribs that the needle goes on, you can hear everything.
Yeah.
The drums, the guitar, the harmonies. Like if you go this way, wah, wah, it's like you can hear just
that's
like
wizardry. That doesn't. Yep. No.
It almost seems harder than doing like creating an iPad.
Dude,
honestly.
It's way harder. It's indescribable to me that those ribs on that fucking plate can play the difference between like Led Zeppelin and Beethoven. You know what I mean?
That's a great point.
Like, fuck off, man. Just stare at that plate and be like, this just produces a different song than another plate that looks like this for no apparent reason other than just the way the ribs on that plate go. Like, look at that. Album? That's just got music on it. What?
There's nothing on it.
No. And you know what's insane? If you listen to a record player really closely, even without like its like the electronic speakers that it produces, you can actually hear it. If you put your ear to the needle, you can hear just like, well, here comes the sun. Like you hear it. It's fucking crazy.
Because my speaker wasn't on the other day, dude, and I was listening and I had it going. And I was like, why is it making noise?
Because it's here comes the sun. It's just fucking it's just happening. But it's how is it producing John Lennon's voice and not just some fucking weird noise? Like how is it that voice, the vibrations and the movement? Why?
Dude, now I'm starting to think that's the most complex invention of all time.
It's not even close.
They've had them for a long time too, right?
Oh my god!
I know.
Oh yeah,
I know. We're creating records, like you, and like I'm like, oh, it's easy, that's basic. But now when you think about it, dude, no idea how that incredible.
How about we put a man on the moon like 35 years before there was like an iPhone?
Yeah. Oh, do you imagine like the cockpit of that thing must have been so dumb. You know what I mean? In terms of like all the technology today and stuff. That is like, you're a true astronaut. Like we're shooting you into space. You're not like flying. We're just like, you're gone.
They're also like,
you're going to land and you're going to come back somehow.
Like, dude, in a capsule in the middle of the ocean with a parachute. Could you imagine how fucking crazy that sounds? I mean,
they're like, you know what? Russia thinks they're better than us, so we're going to put you in this tube and we're going to shoot you up to the moon. And you're going to jump out there. You're going to plant that flag. You're going to come back into the parachute into the ocean. And they were like, awesome. That's thank you so much. And they just did it. It's fucking crazy.
It is.
All right, you guys know that we trust our friends at Peter Millar to make sure we look our best on the course. And as the temperatures start to climb, Peter Millar's Salem Performance Shorts are the way to keep yourself comfortable and stylish on and off the course. Just got a bunch of pair of these sent to us, and they're incredibly thin. I think they've got like 4-way stretch fabric is what they call it. They feature a lightweight performance fabric built in. They've got 2-way stretch, making them perfect for warmer days. And since it's Peter Millar, the design team has made sure that you'll look just as good wearing these off the course as well, thanks to a classic, clean style. I mean, look, Peter Millar, they do quarter zips, they do the hoodies, they do the polos forever. If you think they're not going to put that touch into the best shorts in the world, you'd be a crazy person.
It's the best. I passed a Peter Millar actual store, brick and mortar store in Boston, and you just look inside and you're like, every single item in this store is top of the line. Every single one. They knocked it out of the park. Everything in the window, everything on the walls, everything on the countertops. It's just, you can't find a single piece of clothing in there that's not perfect.
No,
that's what Peter Millar does.
I was an old sandwich, and I'm buying more Peter Millar gear, putting the logo on it. It's a mess. I got a lot of Peter Millar gear, but it's like, it's the best. But then, you just don't know where to put it all in a sense.
Well, they also do now their their casual attire, their going out attire, their downtown attire. I feel like it used to be forever. It was just golf. It felt like with Peter Millar, which they've been doing that for a long time, so they're going to do it better than anybody else. But you can go on there and check out more of their active wear. They got classic, clean styles. So whether you're on the course, whether you're headed downtown, you're headed out for the night, going to the office, Peter Millar's got you covered. Head over to petermillar.com/foreplay to explore the full Peter Millar line. Again, that is petermillar.com/foreplay. Oh, we got to do for the cut. So we got to pick. We got to each pick a person. Lurch can sit in for Trent Ryan. We got to each pick a person at the British Open to make the cut. I believe Dan texted me. He's got Minwoo Lee. He originally went with Shane Lowry, and then he changed it to Minwoo Lee. I'm going to go Adam Scott. Adam Scott's going to be my pick. He missed the cut last week of the Renaissance, but I think he was 1 under, so it wasn't like he played horrific, and he's played pretty well overall this year. So I'm going to go Adam Scott.
I'm going to go Maximilian Homa.
Wow. Frankie, Max Homa.
I think Max Homa, maybe the Open's like his frontier that he's going to overtake now.
Okay.
Maybe this will just be his week. Make the cut. I think Max Homa makes the weekend. I would
like to see that. I would like to see that. Lurch?
I don't think he does, but I'll take Colin Morikawa. I think I was between Colin Morikawa and Fleetwood. I think they're both blocks. So if you want one of those, Franks, you can have them. I don't know.
No, well, this will be a high one. Maybe this might be a plus 700.
You'd have both of them?
No. I'm saying we're combining all four of these for a parlay.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know if you were taking 5 because I was saying Fleetwood and Morikawa. But no, Morikawa's my guy.
He should make it.
I think he'll make it too. We were liking him earlier, so hopefully Morikawa plays great. All right. Does anybody have anything else on that brain of theirs to talk about at this point? What a show. Nice to hear it back from you, Lurchy. How about I got the British Open is 8 hours ahead of my time zone this week. So it's going to be a little bit of a grind to catch some of those morning rounds. It'll be a little bit of a grind.
Wednesday, Barstool Golf's Francis. Francis joined me as the second episode of Barstool Golf. He is the second guy to come out there and play after Jersey Jerry. And Francis goes after Colonial. And it's a very fun episode. It's super funny. Francis is a character. And he's a hell of a golfer, too. You're going to see some really, really good golf out of Francis in this episode. So look out for that on Wednesday. Subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of good shit coming out.
The video with Jay was great. I will say the 7-minute, just I don't even know what to call it, honestly. Like frustrated diatribe about that guy calling him out about breaking 90 or whatever the case, or breaking 100. That had me laughing pretty good, actually.
JJ is he's really he's hitting the golf waves pretty hard right now. I mean, it's like every day you see this guy making moves. He's playing a lot of golf. I think I'm playing with him on Friday.
He's one of the worst athletes though in the company.
Jersey Jerry.
Yeah.
He actually surprised me when it comes to he'll surprise you on the golf course. He can hit a couple good Jersey Jerry has a lot of potential in there. He hits bombs, dude. We have a match between him and Dave that we're going to put out in like a month. That he played some good golf on some holes that like will surprise you. And then the softball stuff, I mean, he looks like a baseball player out there.
He's got his golf is off the tee. He's got a little like Ken Griffey Jr. He like kind of like gets into it and sends it, which you don't see that often.
We're gonna get him dialed in. Hopefully, I think he's gonna start doing a lot more stuff with us. Actually, if you make it out to one of those trips that we're gonna be going on, I think Jersey Jerry's gonna be one of the guys out there. So it should be quite the crew we have.
He has to be.
I actually saw a potential date change for that, so I'll inquire in the chat about what's going on with that.
The Wisconsin one, I think, is staying. The Gamble Sands one,
the staying ones, yeah.
So we got a lot of stuff on the horizon, guys. We're playing some good
hopefully
golf.
I'll have a blade putter by then. Yeah, Frank, sounds like you're kind of lighting it up.
I'm going to fucking light it up tomorrow. We're doing a big video tomorrow. I'm going to light it up tomorrow. I know it. I know I'm going to putt really well. I know it.
That's so exciting.
I needed a change. Yep.
You're like Vijay Singh when he won the FedEx Cup. He was just like, I'm the best putter in the world. And they're like, well, statistically, you're still pretty bad. He's like, I'm the best putter in the world. And he won the FedEx Cup.
Oppenheimer's coming out. Oppenheimer's coming out this week. I've been pretty jacked up about that. That's a look into like how we advance civilization. Is this guy just creating the atomic bomb? And then the Barbie movie is coming out the same day, so I'll be seeing that as well. That's just a good flick, I bet. Ryan
I'd love to see
Gosling.
both of
Yeah.
those. I'd love to see both.
Actually, Frank, I'm coming out to Long Island. I'm playing, I want to say Cherry Valley in a charity tournament.
Wow.
Yeah.
When? This week?
No, not in about a month. I'll text
Okay.
you when I'm out there, though.
Yeah.
We're trying to good charity, trying to raise some money. So
Would love
know?
that.
I'm
Love to see
excited
you
for
out here.
for some travel series stuff to come back because I feel like we haven't really played that much golf with one another, and everybody's games are in a different place than they were like a year
Oh,
ago.
it's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might be the worst player on the podcast by like a landslide right now. I mean, legitimately. For the first 7 or 8 holes on the second round, I finished half the holes. Just like, I mean, I was so bad, dude. We were playing with basically the founder's son of Old Sandwich. And I heard him say to his caddy one time, he was like, "Oh, like my kids say he's like on this guy is like on a golf podcast."
Oh no.
Oh, that's not good.
Like,
Yeah.
it's more about like the bad shots than anything.
Yeah, right. No, we're trying to make people laugh. Like we're not, you got to like really deflect hard in that moment.
Yeah. It was something.
Fuck's this guy doing on a golf podcast?
I do want to send out a little.
I was like, it's real little part time now. You know, it used to be more, but it's much less now.
Super
a little
part-time.
teaser for we did a lot of paddle talk and a lot of racket talk. I do think that we have 2 more events on the horizon in 2023 for the Barstool Pickleball Open. One happening in DC and the other happening in Connecticut. So if you are in those areas, or if you're planning to be in those areas in the coming months, October, November, one of those, we're going to get all that information out to people, but it's looking pretty good about those 2 next locations. So keep an eye out for that. We've got some crazy venues. Pickleball is blowing up to the point where you're looking at 30 court indoor venues with music and fucking like stadium seating on the center courts. These are all indoor facilities. They're buying out malls and shit. Wild. Pickleball is blowing up.
Pickleball's crazy.
I'm hearing it's a sound issue. Is that correct?
Yeah, for outdoors, yeah.
Very much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And people are upset.
Just
sounds like
clanking and a banking just all day.
That's also just might be an angle that like big tennis has really taken. They found something that like is negative about it and they're hammering it.
It's those parks. I will say it is like it's not light on the noise. Like if you're really like thinking it like it's like it's almost like fireworks every like 30 seconds because basically you serve it and then there's like distance between the people. But then as soon as they get close enough to net, it's like point over. And then there's like a scream. And then there's like, oh, good point. And then you just do the whole thing over again. So it's definitely not light on the noise, but it's a fun game.
Really Did pickleball just get invented? Like, has pickleball been around for a long time? It just got bigger?
It was around when I was in high school. Like, so at least, I mean, I think it's been around for a long time. It's just really never picked up steam. And I don't know what it was about pick up
steam like this again. Yeah, I don't know.
It's
I've never seen
like,
something.
I think it was like the pandemic, getting outside. People were able to kind of just get on courts. More people were able to play. They figured out that they can bring a little pickleball net to a tennis court, and you can get 6 people playing on the same surface as opposed to 2 or 4 on a tennis court. And you can just get more people involved. Local parks now, everyone's just doing that because you can get more people out there. Older people can play, younger people can play, girlfriends can play with their boyfriends, wives can play with their husbands, the whole entire deal. It's like more people. Tennis is like,
it's a very neutralizing game.
If you're not good, you're not
neutralizing. I think COVID's a good call. I didn't think about that. Like it was one of the few things you could still do. You could still be outside and play and all that.
It is like because golf's one of the only games you can play with everybody. It's like the first other game that you can legitimately play with. Like I played with people that sucked for my cousin's wedding. It was fun, but like it wasn't very wasn't great players and whatnot. Shout out because it was probably all my cousins honestly that I played with, so they all weren't very good. So a little nasty.
Yeah, you just kind of buried them right there. They're like,
but it is like one of the first games that you can now play with everybody. Because I feel like in most other games, like basketball even, it's like if you suck and you play a really good game, unless you're big, like you can't do anything. It's like there's not many of them out there.
Yeah, that's a great sport, and I can't wait to.
It's not an inclusive world. Frankie, did you play in it or
no? Will I play in it?
Yeah, did you? Did you play in the Long Island one?
No, it's August 5th. August 5th. It hasn't happened.
Oh,
yet.
Sorry.
I probably won't. It's too much scheduling going on. It's way different than running a golf tournament. You've got 140 players. Every single team has to play 5. The way we're doing is they're all getting 5 automatic games in your round robin. So I got my buddy Big Rob. He's our tournament director, and he's running Excel sheets, and he's fucking putting up boards and printouts, and everyone's getting a text message of what court they're going to play on, even like the week before, so they know who they're playing. They can look up their teammates. He's crushing it right now. So yeah, no, it's way different. So there's no way I can like devote my 4 hours to playing in it. I have to be there, like making sure people are moving, because you also got to keep the games going. You can't have a game going for 25 minutes, because if you tell someone your game's at 8 a.m., 8:45 a.m., 9:15, if you lose that, it's a fucking avalanche of problems.
It's funny, like the Barstool Classic, we always say like the easiest part of it is the 6 hours that like while the golf's going on, because everybody knows what to do. They just go to their tee and they just play golf, which they get to do all the time, and then they come in. And like the other stuff,
like the opposite,
right? The other stuff like the handicaps and the logistics and making it cool for people was the work. But like once they're out there, they just play golf for 5 hours or whatever it is.
Yeah, having open courts. My brother and I run a paddle tournament, and like you got to have someone managing every like kind of like grouping of courts to make sure that like there's no minute lost. It's not an easy rollout by any means.
No.
Well, very good. It was good seeing you boys.
Fantastic stuff.
Nice to see you, Lurch. We got British Open week, so we'll be back on Thursday. We'll be talking more about quotes and whatever comes out from this week, what it's looking like. But yeah, nice to see Lurch again. That we had everybody on this show at one point. People just dropped off at certain points. It was a hell of a show. So we'll be back on Thursday. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.